Hey, this is Liquid over here. This is the anime movie to What If Deku was betrayed and experimented on. The manga movie will be coming out soon, and if you like this video, like, subscribe, and I'll see you all later. So, everything starts normally. He's quirkless. Everything's normal. No, I'm not gonna do the USJ or training camp arc because too many people do it. So he goes, he's fighting Stain. Yes, I'm doing it in Stain arc. So he's fighting Stain, and when he's fighting him with Ida after the fight, Ida kicks him, and he gets knocked to the floor, and he gets kicked a bunch of times by Ida. I'm gonna say that Todoroki wasn't there, and he's gonna be one of the people who believed that who didn't believe that he was a villain, because he helped them during the sports festival. So he gets kicked a bunch of times by Ida, and then some heroes come by to stop Ida, but then Ida just shouts, it's your fault, you villain. You're the reason we got attacked. I'm just gonna say, some of the heroes who didn't know about what happened, I'll tell you about that, were confused and asked why he's calling him a villain. So the Todoroki comes and Izuku goes up to him and asks why Ida's calling him a villain, and flashback 2 days before the Stain arc, there was a video of Izuku stealing UA files, and when he gets caught by some heroes, he, 2 of them, he kills them. Yep. And that was all caught on video. So, the, important thing to note is that he didn't use his quirk, he just stabbed them with a knife, and when he went into Nezu's office to steal the files, he had a tiny bit of yellow hair on the ends of his, a tiny bit of yellow on the ends of his hair, because I'm just gonna say for plot that Toga didn't get enough blood, so you could only last like a minute, and that minute was wasn't a good transformation. So he gets called a villain, and he gets a call from, let's say, Nezu, and he says that, or Nezu says that he's expelled from UA High School, and he shouldn't ever come back. And All Might, he runs by, and he sees Izuku, and pulls a hair from him, saying, you were an awful successor, I wish I never chose you, and things like that, because, well, almost a dick in this one, and, the things, he can sometimes steal or take the quirk back. So he kicks Izuku, and then remembers that he needs to get turned in by the police. So he runs out, try to find him, but he's not found. So Izuku's just walking in an alleyway. He's let's say like 4 kilometers. No, yeah, 7 kilometers away from the Stain fight, and he's wondering why me, and why is everyone doing this to me? And only a couple of them think that he's a hero, not the Euro Trader. Then he's walking, and he's really lightheaded, and then he blacks out. So when he blacks out, some people take him, and then he wakes up, and he's in a League of Villains hideout, and near the League of Villains hideout in the Nomu area. He's in the Nomu experimentation area, and he's getting experimented on, and let's say that this happens for 2 weeks. He's experimented on for 2 weeks, and the All-for-One doctor was trying to test quirk limitations on Nomus, and so Izuku got, let's say, 200 quirks, because why not? But he rejects all of them, and the All-for-One doctor is wondering why his body's rejecting all of the quirks. And then while this is happening, Izuku, since he's experimented on, he's wondering that he's thinking to himself that he can't take it anymore, and he sees some sharp metal objects, and he slits his wrists, and then he dies, and when he wakes up, he's in a black room, and you already know it's one of these ones. It is Kaguya Otsutsuki. Yep. She's in this room, and she is asking Izuku why he did it. Well, like, why did you do it, young one? And Izuku's saying that he couldn't take it anymore. And then he asks, who are you? And then she says, I am Kaguya Otsutsuki. And let's say Hisashi's related to Shinobi, and he's the only one left. And Hisashi died, and Izuku's now the only one left who's related to Shinobi. So he asks why he's here, and Kaguya explains that he's related to a Shinobi. I'll tell you what it is in a bit, or maybe another episode, or another part. So he asks what he's gonna do because people think he's a villain. Kaguya just says, we train, of course, and Izuku asks for how long, and Kaguya says 100 years, and Izuku's saying, I'll be dead by then. It needs to go faster. And Kaguya says, in the outside world, it will only be about 3 months in your time. So, and so Izuku's like, 3 months is a bit too long, but I guess I can deal with it. So he's training with some shinobi that Kaguya Otsutsuki created, so that he can handle let's say tuning level tuning level shinobi, so that he can get a handle he can get handle with his of his chakra, because she explains in the beginning what chakra is, or what people think, or what people used to think it was, but like not the real meaning of it, and how to use it, and how the 5 different chakra natures. She also explains, or she also gets some people who to explain about the ninja world and what it was. And so he trains with tunings. I'm gonna say he has all 5 chakra natures. No, he has 4 chakra natures at the moment, and he will get the 5th one later. I'm gonna say he has lightning, fire, wind, and earth. So he gets water later on. So he's training with the tuning, and it's been about 2 years, and that's when he unlocks the 4 chakra natures. And when he's training, his hair turns white like this. He keeps his green eyes on. Actually, no, he gets, well, I'll tell you what he gets in a bit. So he gets his, well, Kaguya Otsutsuki gets some since he's been training for 2 years, or let's say that another 2 years have passed. So he trains, since he's trained for 4 years, he could train with some jonin and learn some jonin techniques. He does that for another 6 years, and then she brings out how many people? Let's say okay, so she summons 6 people. 2 of them, Indra and Ashura. Another 2 of them, Madara and Hashirama. Then the last 2 is Naruto and Sasuke. So they say that, or Kaguya says that you're the next reincarnation, but you're the reincarnation of both of them. Both Indra and Ashura, because they're all Hashirama and Naruto are the Hashirama, Naruto, and never mind. So he asks why who are they and what are they doing here, and Kaguya Otsutsuki is saying that they will train you for the next 90 years. So he asks who are they, and the first 2 step up and say, my name is Indra and my name is Ashura, and we'll train you for the first 30 years. And so they're training 30 years. The villains realize that, the day after that he dies, All For One's doctor realizes that he's dead, so he just throws him with a pile of dead bodies. I'm gonna say that Izuku gotten used to dead bodies, because he saw a bunch when he regained some of his memories, since he's the reincarnation of both Indra and Ashura. He saw memories of, let's say, Madara, and he well, some of the memories of Madara of the Fourth Great Ninja War, and seeing a bunch of people die, seeing a lot of shinobi dying, so he's gotten used to dead bodies, and he doesn't really, well, fear them anymore. So, he's he's training with Inja and Asha for 30 years, and while this is happening, Nezu sees some evidence. Well, Bakugo is trying to find evidence of Izuku being not being a UA trader, and along with Tsuyu Kirishima, Momo Todoroki, and yeah, let's say those 5. Okay, so those 5 are trying to find evidence of Izuku not being the UA trader, and he sees, well, he asks for some of the video about the video about Izuku stealing the files and killing the villains, and they're wondering why Bakugo wants it. So they're like, why are you getting it? And Bakugo is saying that he's going to try to prove Izuku innocent, and they're like, go ahead, try if you want, but he's not coming back here. He's a villain. So they look at the video over and over again for the next for the next 4 days, and they see some evidence of Izuku being innocent because of the yellow, or the sort of yellow hair, and he doesn't use his quirk to kill the heroes. He just stabs them, and he's thinking that he's seen someone who's done that who with yellow hair, and who's really proficient with a knife. So Bakugo goes up to the other 4 and asks if they've seen someone with yellow hair who has a knife, and instantly Tsuyu says Himiko Toga, and Bakugo's thinking in his head, it's her, she's the one that did it. So he runs up to Principal Nezu and says, oh no, hold on. They try and find a bit more evidence first, and they get it. They see, they ask around the buildings of that are around UA for security footage of back alleys of their restaurants, or some places like that, because Bakugo knows that since the transformation is sloppy, she didn't get enough blood from Izuku, so he looks at the footage, and he sees Himiko Toga transforming into Izuku and running as fast as she can to UA. So he brings this evidence up to Principal Nezu, and he's saying to himself that he's an idiot, and Bakugo's saying, you're a dumbass. You're supposed to be the smartest rat man alive, but you can't even see what's you couldn't even see what's happening here because you were blinded by rage, and because Izuku supposedly killed those villains, and and then Momo says, we live in a world of quirks. Transformation quirks aren't the first thing that would have crossed your mind. You must be stupid. And all of them are just saying that, and Nezu calls All Might up to the office, or Nezu's office, and he tells All Might that Izuku was innocent and that Bakugo and the other four have brought evidence on Izuku being innocent, and then Kirishima says that Midobro wouldn't have done that. Why did you guys? Oh yeah, why did you all just think that he would have done that? And All Might's saying that he's an idiot, and Your For One uses a saying, "Yes, you are an idiot. You muscle brain," and so All Might, as soon as he hears this, he runs out to try to find Izuku, but he can't find them, and he eventually finds an alleyway. He walks in, and he sees a pile of, and I'm gonna end that here. It starts with, we ended off with All Might walking into an alley and seeing a pile of, and then I cut it off. What he saw was a pile of dead bodies. And one of those dead bodies on the top of the pile was Izuku. You kind of already guessed that though. When he sees this, he just drops to his knees and starts crying. Sorry if you hear any background noise. Yeah. So he drops to his knees and starts crying, and he picks up Izuku's body and runs towards UA. And yeah, so he runs towards UA and with Izuku's body, and before he gets to let's just say that he runs into Nezu's room with Izuku's body, and at this point Izuku is training with Madara and Hashirama because it's already been 30 years. Let's just say it's near the end of his 60 year wait, no, I said that he trained 10 years, then it was 30, then it was 30 again. So he trained with Indra and Ashura for 30 years, so it's his 40th year. Then he trained 30 years with Hashirama, and he's trained 26 years at the moment, I'll just say that, with Madara and Hashirama, and he, I should say he's a Rinnegan. Yeah, one eye, Rinne Sharingan, the other eye, Sharingan, and he learned all of Madara and Hashirama's jutsu except for the wood style, because he's not related. I know the Uchihas, but if you want me to give wood style to Izuku, then say. So yeah, at this point he's like millions of times stronger than All Might. So All Might brings Deku's dead body up to Principal Nezu's office and said, bursts open the door and says we're too late, but there's someone already in there. It will be, yeah, so let's just say that before the Stain arc, he met Nijiro Hado, and yes, there's going to be the ship. So when he bursts open the door, he sees Principal Nezu and Nijiro Hado, because she was called up to and she was explained to that Izuku was innocent and not the UA trader, and she was like, "You dumbass, you're supposed to be the smartest on this planet. How did you get some stupid how did you get some stupid evidence that that has like a million flaws and was not and it wasn't true in the first place, and you just throw him in jail or just desert? No, what's the right word? The right word. Abandon. And just abandon him. And Nezu was saying, I know, I made a terrible mistake. And then Nejire just says, yeah, and you better fix it. As soon as she says, better fix it, All Might bursts in the door with Izuku's dead body. And when Nejire sees this, because let's just say she had a little crush on him, she just starts crying, and All Might sees this, and he also, like, tears up a tiny bit, and Nezu is thinking, oh dear, we really screwed up this time. So, they decide to, bury Izuku in the, let's just say, in the forest that's near UA, but it's like quite a bit away from it, but also it's in between the wall and it's in between the barrier and UA, so yeah, the building. So they bury him next to a tree, and after that he trains with Sasuke and Naruto. Should I give him Kurama or not? Well, it makes a big difference, so I have to decide right now. So I'll just explain Sasuke right now. So he gets his Sharingan ability, so he gets Madara's Susanoo. Since he has 2 Sharingans, Madara's and Sasuke's, he gets the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. So he gets Sasuke's Sharingan ability, which is the Amaterasu, and the controlling of the... Well, actually, he doesn't have the Sharingan anymore. He has the Rinne Sharingan. He gets Sasuke's Rinne Sharingan powers of switching place of an object or a person. So, yeah. So let's just say, it's the 99th year and 364th day, and they're congratulating him. They, yeah, all 6 of them are congratulating him on, making it past, their training, because Madara was, like, really tough on him. Let's just say that he beat him, like, a bunch of times, almost to the brink of death, because although he, trained with Indra and Ashura, he still didn't, well, have the right, like, abilities to beat him, because they weren't beat Madara because they weren't mastered yet. So after the time was about to come, so like 2 minutes before the new day, Hagoromo appears, and they all say Stage of 6 Pass, what are you doing here? And he just says, I'm here to bring him back, and back to his world, because he's dead. He can't wake up until I make it. So, and then they'll just start thinking, well, if he didn't show up, then this sort of all been a waste. So, I'm gonna say he's like Sasuke, Naruto, and he can beat Sasuke, Naruto, and I'm gonna say Ashura in a 1-on-3 fight. Yeah. So after Hagoromo brings him back to life, he realizes that he's underground. So he creates a he creates a earth style jutsu that gets rid of the earth, and he uses an earth style jutsu to get rid of the earth that's on top of him, and he gets out of the ground, and he stands up and he sees that. Sorry about that. I'll pause it. Sorry, it seems the sound's not going away. You're gonna have to deal with it. Not my problem. Well, kind of is, because dislikes in the description. Did I just say dislikes in the description? It dislikes and bad hate comments. Oh my god. Okay. Wow. Okay, anyway, what I was saying was he left the underground, and he was trying he went deep into the forest. His looks changed to this, of course. He has his Rinnegan in his Sharingan in his left eye, and his Sharingan in his right eye, just like Sasuke's and Madara's. So he trains for like another week, trying to learn water style, and he eventually gets a tiny bit of water out, because Sage of Six Paths gave him a scroll of all the water jutsu techniques. So he tries to learn how to do water style, and he manages to do a really weak water style jutsu, but he's like, I've done it after only a week or two. Oh, let's say a week. After only a week. So, he's training on that, and Nijire is still quite sad, so she goes over to Izuku's grave, but then she realizes that dirt has been lifted, and she thinks that he's been grave robbed. So he runs around trying to look for him, and she sees someone who looks about her age but's quite tall, he looks quite tall, training with a sort of mask on. It's going to be Obito's, not Toby mask, but Fourth Great Ninja War mask, where he's wearing it, and he's learning how to use water style jutsu, and she's wondering what he's doing, so she hides behind a tree, completely forgetting about Izuku. Yes, I know, but she's thinking about it, but then she's like, what if he wasn't grave robbed? What if this is Izuku? But so she watches closely, and she sees this guy doing weird hand signs, and water comes out of his hands. Oh wait, no, water comes out from the ground around him, and just floats up, and then drops back down to the ground, and goes back into the earth. So she's wondering what he's doing, and then he's like, damn it, I give up. So he creates he uses a style to he creates a style to create a bunch of walls around him, so that he can think inside of a weird, like, sort of like how in the Naruto vs Orochimaru fight, when he becomes a Four Tails, how Yamato makes a semi-dome. He creates a dome around himself, sort of like that one, but it's got fire-style lights in there, like sort of like sticks, and he creates fire-style. And he jumps him into the wall, and he's thinking about ways to use his water style, and all he hears is Nijire coming up and beating on the wall, trying to dig him out. And it's like, hey, are you okay? Are you okay in there? And he realizes this, so he creates a style jutsu to go he uses Earth style jutsu to go under the ground and behind Nijiri, and just pops up behind her and says, yeah, I'm fine. And she turns around shocked and like, I thought you got like suffocated or squashed in there. And he says, no, it's just a thinking dome. She asks, who are you? And Izuku says, I can't say. Then she says, you've got quite a strong quirk, you might want to come to UA. And why are you even in this area? You're not even UA, you're not allowed in here. And he says, that's quite a long story, and I can't tell you, and I can't tell you if I want to go back or not, because he doesn't feel like going back, but he might. So he's wondering what's happened to what they think happened to what they think about Izuku. So he asked Nijiri, what do you think about me? Or not me, what do you think about Izuku? And she says, how do you know Izuku? And then he says, Deku says, personal friend. And she says, well, people thought that he was the UA trader, and he was the one who stole files and gave them to the League of Villains, but I didn't believe that. But Nizu and All Might did, and I can't believe that stupid rat who's supposed to be the smartest thing on this planet thought that he was a traitor. So yeah, Deku hears this and it's like, I'll tell you a secret, but only in a week's time, when I get this stupid thing down. So she's like, what stupid thing? And then he says water style, and she's wondering what water style is, and so, but she doesn't press it any further. So she's like, okay, well, will you come back will you come back to UA if you at the end of the week, because he said that he's not going back there, and she's wondering if he was a student. So she asked if he's going back to UA in a week's time. He says, I'll think about it, but it's probably gonna be a no. So after that week, Nijiri's been trying to get him back into UA, like, hey, can you get this kid into UA? What's his name? Don't know yet. He said that he'd reveal it to me at the end of the week. And they're like, okay, what's his quirk? And then she says, I don't know, it looks like he has multiple. And as soon as she says this, almost like he might, almost sticking in his head that he might be working with All For One. Yeah, kind of dumb, I know. So after the week of training, he says to Nijiri in a location that no one can hear, and he says, my name is Izuku Midoriya, and her jaw just drops and like, no, he's dead, he can't, you can't be him, he's not alive anymore. And then Deku says, I was dead, and she was like, how'd you come back to life? And Izuku just says, friends. and maybe a literal god, and she's just wondering, what? What do you, what does he mean about literal friends, or what literal god? So, she goes to Yue that day and says, he's, since she's given a description of him, like, white hair, weird mask, and, like, yeah, white hair, and a weird mask, and one purple eye and one green eye, and because he's kept his green eye when his shouting gun's not activated, so they're wondering, green eye, what is it? What does she mean by green eye? And then, so after the week is out, Nejire runs to Nezu's office and says that the person who she was talking about was Izuku Midoriya, and he was the one in the mask with white hair, and they're all like, he's dead, he can't be alive. And she said that she thought that too, but then she said that he was dead, and then he came back to life by some friends and a literal god, and they're wondering if is someone with a resurrection quirk, or just, yeah, someone with a resurrection quirk, because if they have it, then they need them as well as Izuku, because they feel bad about what happened. So one day, let's just say 3 days passed, and all the UA teachers go to Izuku's grave, and they see that it's been dug up and like a wall next to it. So they're like, or they're wondering what happened, and if it was that god that he was talking about, or his friends that made that wall. And they walk up to a patch of trees, and they see someone training, and they see that it matches the description of what Nejire was saying, and they go up to him, because they do it without Nejire knowing, because they don't want her interfering and telling them not to go up to him. And as soon as they get close, Izuku senses them, and without even seeing them, since all of them hide behind a tree, without seeing them, with his back to them, he just says, "Come out," and they're like confused, and they start walking out, and Deku says, "Why are you here?" And All Might says, "Izuku, you're young Midoriya," and Deku just says, "Don't call me that, you don't call me that, you old man." And he's really confused, because a kid who admired him called him an old man, and told him not to call him young Midoriya, because he's generally confused, because he's that dumb, that why he's being called old man. So he just walks up to him and says, "Listen, Izuku, I'm sorry about what happened." And then Deku just says, "You're sorry that you got me killed?" And All Might just takes a step back and says, "Yeah, about that." And then, how did you come back to life? And Izuku says, "Friends and a god," like he said to Ninjari. All Might's wondering who this god is, so he asks, "Who is this supposed god?" And Izuku just says, "Not supposed, literally, he is a god. He is." And then he says, or then he thinks that he shouldn't give them the answers to how he came back to life, so he just stops talking and says, "Never mind. It's not relevant." Then all of them, or then Nezu just says, "Young Izuku, we'd like you to come back to UA and Sorry about that background noise. I don't know what it is. It's probably a dryer or something. So, he answers Nezu and says, "No, I'm not going back." And Nezu's saying, "Please, we'd like you to come back because we feel horrible at what we've done." Izuku, he's thinking about it, and he says, 1 month from now. So they're thinking 1 month from now, and questioning him, and he says, "Yeah, I'm coming back in a month." He wants to see what it's like, but he also wants to adapt to his body since he's been gone for 100 years. Because let's just say that he didn't feel his body when he was dead. Yeah, so about a couple of days pass, and Izuku leaves the UA forest. Of course, the barrier thinks that he's trying to get in when really he's trying to get out because he doesn't have his ID badge on him. Because let's just say that after he woke up, he found it sort of corroded because of all the acids from the experimentation. He jumps over the UA barrier and into the streets, and he body flickers a bunch of times to get really far away from the school, and he ends up on a building, and he buys a cloak and he puts it on. So he buys a cloak, puts it on, and he becomes a vigilante. So he's stopping crime, and no one can see his face, and everyone's confused. Oh yeah, by the way, I don't own any of these pictures. I forgot to say that in my last two videos that I did. So this is what he wears, and everyone's wondering who's stopping all these villains. And after they get taken into custody, they all say it was some cloaked figure. And Nezu, since he's kind of smart, but not that smart because of what happened with Izuku, he kind of puts it together and thinks that the strange person appeared after Izuku left the forest. It might be him. So, yeah. He's just doing vigilante work, and we cut back to 1A, and they still think that he's a villain because they haven't gotten the news, but the other four know. Kirishima, Momo and Todoroki, Momo and Bakugo know that Izuku was innocent because they were told by Nezu that he's been cleared, but they don't want anyone else to know yet until he comes back to UA. So they know that Izuku's innocent, and they really want to hit all the students from 1A, really, really hard in the top of the head. Aizawa knows, so they don't get a new student yet, because they know that Izuku's coming back to UA. If he doesn't want to be in the hero course, or if he doesn't want to be in 1A, he just get someone transferred from the place that with the person with the top scores in the place that he's going to. I'm probably going to make him into 1A or 1B. If you want me to have him in any other classroom, just say so. I'm kidding. He's about 2 weeks have passed, and more people are saying that this cloaked figure has a lot of quirks, and they're wondering if it is Izuku because he's quirkless now, because he his or One for All was taken from him by All Might again. Let's just say he gave it to Mirio, and he doesn't want to take it back from Mirio because he feels bad just giving him a quirk and then going to take it off like he did to Izuku. So he just leaves it with Mirio, and he's quite angry at himself because if he held on to it for like a week longer, then he would have given it to Izuku again. So and he's confused. They're all confused. Like, why would he come back to UA if he doesn't have a quirk anymore? And so they get reports about this cloaked figure has a fire quirk, an earth quirk, water quirk, wind quirk, and lightning quirk, and he walks on buildings, he teleports sort of far away. A bunch of stuff like that, and they're all confused because isn't a person supposed to have one or two quirks depending on their parents? And they're thinking they're really confused about this. So they're really confused about this. So eventually the 1 month period is up. Let's just say the UA Sports Festival. Wait, no, it's staying up. Let's just say it's about to be the area arc, the overhaul arc. Actually, I think that's what it's called. Yeah. So it's about to be the overhaul arc, and they get the original, or they get the 4 who believed him to be in, to be a part of the be a part of the raid. And when Deku comes back, they ask him if he wants to be, when Deku comes back, they ask him if he wants to be in 1A or 1B, and Izuku says that he'd like to be in 1A, because he's got people who actually believe him in there, but most of them don't. So he waits outside of the 1A classroom, and Aizawa walks in. He believed Izuku was innocent the whole time, and he also sort of cried when he found out that he was dead. So he walks into the classroom and says, everyone shut up, I've got an announcement to make. And they all look and listen, and then he says Izuku Midoriya was innocent, and they're like, what? No, that villain isn't innocent. And all the Bakugo, Suyu, Kirishima, and Momo just shout as loud as they can, yes, he is, dumbasses, we got evidence. So they just stop talking and listen. And then Aizawa says Izuku Midoriya had died and then came back to life mysteriously about 2 weeks later. And they were like, what? How does that work? And Aizawa says, well, I don't really care. At least he's back. So since he's alive, he's coming back into 1A. So then they're like, what? No, he's. Some of them still think he's the villain, like Ida. Let's just say Hochako Uraka. Benita, because he doesn't like how popular with the girls he is. And yeah, people like them, like Toru Higakure, and let's just say everyone else, like Mina, Shoji, Koji Koda, yeah, they now believe that he's innocent, and they feel really bad about what happened. So after like 2 minutes of talking amongst themselves, as I was like, shut up. And as soon as he says shut up, Izuku just opens the door, walks in, and sits in his seat. He asked if he could still wear his mask, and they said, sure, if that's the only thing that you need, just to join UA, then sure. So he just sits down, and they're wondering who this person is, and let's just say he busted through the door like a normal person. I'm kidding. And Izai just says, Izuku, you could have broken the door, right? And everyone's just staring at him and like thinking in their head, Izuku? This can't be Izuku. He had green hair and 2 green eyes, not a purple one. And they're wondering if this purple eye is his quirk, or if it's just mutation of some sort. So they're confused, and as he's walking, as he's waiting while sitting down, Bakugo is just saying, I need you to be back, you damn nerd. And Izuku just says, I see you found the evidence. I see you for the one who found the evidence of me being innocent. And yeah, we did, but it was kind of hard trying to stop ourselves from hitting everyone in 1A when after that 1 month period. And they're wondering, 1 month period, what do you mean? And Izuku just says, I was alive for 1 month, and I was going to come back to UA, but I didn't want to. So I was getting used to my body again since I was gone for 100 years. And I'm like, you mean you were gone for 100 years? It was only a month and a half. And Izuku doesn't really care. He just says that he was gone for a month before he wanted to come back to UA. So they understand. And after class is over, Izuku walks out into a field, and sort of field. He's going to train with his water style again, since he still doesn't have full control over it. And as he was about to start training, Hochako and Ida pull up with with Toru and Manila. I think that's it. Yeah, those 4, they pull up, and Ida's just like, reciprocal burst, and runs as fast as he can, and about to kick Izuku, because they still think that he's a villain. So he just steps out of the way, and Ida's confused because he's faster than him, and he just Izuku just grabs his face and with his hand, and just squeezes and just smashes his head into the ground. And it creates a mini crater. And then Izuku's like, I'm trying to train here. If you don't want that to happen to all of you, then you leave. And they're like, okay. And they grab Ida and walk away, because Ochako uses zero gravity quirk on him, and they just walk away. And Izuku starts training his water style, and he's almost as proficient as all his others on other styles. And they're thinking that he unlocked the water quirk, and they're confused. And then he after he's finished, he puts fire under the bottom of his feet and shoots off, and they're confused. And like, he has a fire quirk as well. So they're all confused. And Izuku, as soon as he gets high enough, he body flickers onto the roof and does the training that Todoroki did, where he launched the ice and fire in the 3rd season. I think it was the third season, or it was the fourth season, one of the two. So he uses water and fire and electricity, and he uses the water and fire to make steam, and then electricity to make to have it the electricity electrocute the steam or the condensation, and it creates like an electric cloud. And he was like, cool, made a sort of new jutsu. So he's thinking that he could use this to make a new jutsu, and he then remembers Sasuke talking about one of his jutsus that created a lightning dragon. I think it was Kidding, something like that. And so he's thinking, what if he could do that as well? So he's thinking in his head ways of doing it, because and then he realizes that he's got the scroll from Hagoromo, and then he looks through it even more. He gets past most of the water jutsu, and he flips onto a page, and he realizes that it's got all the jutsu in it. So like Flying Thunder God technique, and all those techniques. And he sees one that Sasuke made up, was called Kidding, and he's thinking what he looks at it, and he's like, what if I could do this, but instead of with lightning, I can do it with something else. But then he's like, nah, I'm just gonna do it with lightning. So he starts making a lightning or a Kidding, and it works. The clouds start forming above him, and when he strikes it down, it hits someone, and I am going to leave it off here. So where I left it off last time was when Zuko was using the Kidding, and he struck lightning, and he was intending for it to go down to the ground, but instead it hit someone. That's where I ended it off. And it actually struck All Might. The lightning struck All Might, and so when he looked down, he saw All Might just laying flat on the ground, and you could see him laying flat on the ground, and Zuko's like, that's a problem. So he just jumps down, and some students gathered around, and they see that All Might was struck by lightning, and then they see someone jumping down from the roof, and they're like, you killed All Might. And Zuko says, no, he's just paralyzed. And everyone's like, oh, what? You can't, you just struck All Might with lightning though. And Zuko says, yeah, I'll just heal him. And then they're like, you have a healing quirk? But I thought you had lightning. And he was like, yeah, I have that as well. And they're like, how many quirks do you have? And Zuko says, well, about, And then he thinks, and he says, actually, I have too many to count. And they're like, wait, what? And they're all confused, and Zuko just bends down and heals All Might, although he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to get charged for murder of the number one hero. So All Might gets healed. He takes him to Recovery Girl before his buff form goes down. And so yeah, before he goes down to his small might form, and they're really confused about how this kid yeah, this kid with a weird mask on his face and weird, like really weird eyes, has more quirks than he can count. And they're thinking, what if? One of the kids is like, I heard that number one villain can steal quirks. What if they steal all of his? And they're like really scared now because he just defeated All Might with a single lightning strike. And yeah, and All Might has been fighting All For One, and he hasn't, or he barely won last time. So if he beat All Might with a single lightning strike, then All For One will definitely beat him. So they're like quite scared, and they're thinking to each other, we need to find a way to keep All For One away from that kid. And well, it's some of the teachers who are thinking this. The teachers are thinking, we need to find a way to get Izuku away from All For One. And yeah, let's just say that after he did that to All Might, he had a tag on, let's say he had a tag on Karagiri, and he flying Raijins to Karagiri, and they see him, but then he disappears instantly, so he body flickers to All For One, and All For One just sees this kid with a mask who's quite tall and muscular, but he doesn't know what he's doing, and he's like, boy, what are you doing here? And Zuko says, isn't it obvious? I'm here to kick your ass. And All For One's like, good luck with that. And as he's about to finish, he has got a Chidori right through his heart. And All For One's like, that's not going to be enough to get me, right? And Zuko says, I know. And then, like, he summons shadow clones, and then they have, like, 5 Chidoris, and they just shove them into his face, and, All For One just falls on the ground, and he's, like, dying, but his healing quirk is just barely keeping him alive. So Izuku just flying Raijins back to Recovery Girl's office, and Recovery Girl sees that Izuku has a tiny bit of blood stained on his shirt and his arm, and she's like, what did you do? What did you do this time? And Izuku says, went over to the League of Villains hideout and beat All For One's ass. And she's shocked. She's like, you did what? And Izuku says, I just did what I said. I kicked All For One's ass. Recovery Girl says, did you kill him? And Izuku says, no, I made it so that he was barely alive so that he can self-regenerate. But it might be about a month before he can stand and walk normally again. And Recovery Girl's like, great, good job. You made our lives easier, but did you have to do it in that way? And Izuku just says, well, yeah. And so next day passes, and let's just say the next next day passes, and they go to the USJ again. They don't run into the League of Villains. but they all have bad memories of that place, so they're doing absolutely horrible. Except for Izuku, and let's just say Zuko and Kirishima. Zuko and Kirishima are like doing perfectly fine with their training. Everyone else is struggling because they're thinking about what happened last time at the USJ and are worried. But Kirishima knows that Doriel, or knows that they won't be attacked again, and if they will be, Kirishima or Izuku will just kill or kick all their asses. That's what he thinks. So, well, let's say it's all four of them. So it's Suyu, Bakugo, Momo, and Kirishima are the ones who are actually doing quite well, because they know that Izuku will protect them, and everyone's like, well, he might protect us, right? And secretly, Bakugo just walks next to them and says, he won't, you changed him, you changed him into, what you see now, so, and he probably won't protect you because of what you did. They're all shocked, and Momo, or let's say Sue, sees this, walks up to Bakugo and say, what did you say to them? And Bakugo just says the truth. Suyu is like, okay, but did you have to give them those scared looks? And Bakugo just says, well, yeah, it makes it better. So they're all even more scared of Izuku now. Let's just say Hochako and Ida. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Hochako and Ida, are still thinking that Izuku's sort of a villain. And so, after the day ends, they're leaving. Ida grabs Uraka makes herself float, and Ida runs as fast as she can and hides behind an alleyway. Sort of far from the USJ. No, sort of far from UA, and they just wait there, and Izuku leaves UA and starts walking in the direction of Ida and Hochako, and they're, if my voice changes over this, it's because I just woke up and my vocal cords are still warming up. So, Izuku's walking past, in the street, past an alleyway, and that's when he notices Ida and, Hochako. I'm just gonna say he can sense them with chakra. He spread chakra throughout the air, and he sensed them moving, and he notices that it's Hochako and Ida, and before he gets there, he body flickers on top of the building and walks over the ledge to over the ledge of the alleyway, looks down and he sees them, and then he drops down behind them, but they didn't hear him, so he just silently lands behind them, stands up, crosses his arms, and then he goes and they turn and look and they see Izuku, and they're like, how'd you get there? And Izuku says, well, I used my brain, as in obviously use my quirk and my brain, and They're like, oh, well, who cares? You're not going to get away this time, you villain. And Izuku says, who says I'm a villain? And they say, we do. And Ida says, reciprocal turbo. And he goes to kick Izuku. Actually, no, he doesn't have reciprocal turbo yet. He says, reciprocal burst. And he runs as fast as he can. Tries to kick Izuku. But his leg, as his leg is going to kick him, it goes right through him, and then they notice it's just a clone. Or then they then they look around to see Izuku's just standing in the place that was standing before, and he's like, "How'd you do that?" Izuku says, "Matterless clones." So, yeah. Speaking of matter, I'm gonna make a new series, series later today, my time, and it'll be World of Izuku at State of Matter Manipulation. If you don't know what that is, he has control over the 4 states of matter and basically becomes a god. So yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, there were clones that had no matter, and Ida says, that's another quirk. You're working with Awful One, aren't you? And Izuku says, no, I kicked his ass like a week ago. Oh no, I kicked his ass yesterday. And Ida is confused, and he grabs Ida and Uraraka, flying Raijins over to Awful One. It's like before he left, he put a Flying Raijin tag, Flying Thunder God tag, and Flying Thunder God's over there, and they see Awful One, like, lying in a medical bed, about to die, dying, and they say, why would you do that to your own master, or to your own boss? And Izuku says, are you that fucking dense? And they just look at him and like, you really think I would do that to my own boss? You really think he is my boss? And they're like, well, yeah, how'd you get those quirks? And Izuku says, I got them after you killed me. And both Ida and Uraraka are shocked. And then they look down in shame and like, just take us back. So he Flying Thunder God's back to the alleyway, and Izuku says, I hope you realize now what you've done. And they're like, yeah, we're sorry, because they realized that Izuku is betrayed, and when he said that he died, they thought it was metaphorical, like all of his emotions and all of his feelings had died. And Izuku starts to walk off, and then he stops, turns around slightly, and said, "No, that wasn't metaphorical. That wasn't metaphorical. I did die that day, and I did die." And they're like, "Then how are you here?" Izuku. Sorry, my phone cut off. So Izuku just says, it wasn't metaphorical. I did die that day. And then they're like, how are you here? And then Izuku says, I'll explain it another time. But for now, I still haven't accepted I haven't accepted your apology. Because they said, we're sorry. So Izuku says that and walks off, and they understand why he doesn't accept their apology. They get that now. They realize that he wasn't a villain, and so yeah, days go on, and it's a sports festival. Yep. So it's a sports festival. And let's just say Midnight comes into the room and asks Izuku to let's say Midnight asks Izuku to come to teacher's lounge. He comes in there and Midnight's like, hey, we've got a position for you. Do you want to be the representative to the school or to UA? And Izuku says, no thanks, give it to Bakugo or something. And because he doesn't really care about it, so Midnight calls Bakugo over to the teacher's lounge, and Midnight says, "Oh, I already asked Izuku this, but he turned it down. But do you wanna be the representative this year for the sports festival?" And Bakugo says, "That damn nerd turned it down. Alright, yeah, I guess I'll do it." And so Midnight's like, okay, then she writes down Katsuki Bakugo down on a sheet of paper on a clipboard, and she's like, thank you, and walks off to the Bakugo walks off back to class, and Midnight just leaves to Nizu's office. She says, oh, you've got the school representative, or the first year's representative for the year, and for the sports festival. And Nizu's like, who is it? Midnight says, well, at first we asked Izuku, but he turned it down, so then we asked, then he recommended Katsuki Bakugo. We asked him, and he said that he'll do it. Yeah, and so the sports festival happens, let's say, after the next 2 days. So it's a sports festival happening. All for One is like up now. He can like sort of walk around, but he can only do it for like a minute before he falls over. A minute before he falls over, because I want him back in this quickly. And he's watching the sports festival, and he sees Izuku, and he's like, that damn kid, he's the one who did it. I need his quirk immediately. So he's watching, then he thinks to himself, what if I watch what he does? What if I see how strong he is first? I mean, he did beat me, but maybe he wasn't even using his full power. So, sorry about that. So he goes to a TV and watches the sports festival, and it's the first year representative Katsuki Bakugo who gets called up instead of Izuku Midoriya. And One's like, Katsuki Bakugo, is that the name of the kid who did it to me, or did this to me? And he sees it's a completely different person, and he's like, that's not him. Where is he? And then he looks down, and he sees someone with a mask, and he's like, well, this makes it easy, because he's not taking it off. It's got no real purpose to it. They're like, well, how strong is it? Izuku says, well, I'll make a clone of it, make it really weak, because this one can withstand, like 15 punches. No, this one can withstand about 100 All Might Prime punches. And they're like, what? How's that even possible? And Izuku says, it just is. It's just, don't question it. It is. So Izuku's wearing a really weak one that can just shatter with like two of Bakugo's explosions. So they're fighting. Oh, no, not fighting. Bakugo comes up and says, "We we welcome you here today to the to 1A Sports. Oh, sorry, we welcome you here today to the first year sports festival. Although some of us fought real villains, it doesn't mean that we're strong. Well, it doesn't mean that we're stronger than everyone else." It's like a completely different change for Katsuki Bakugo, because he was gonna say that stuff, but then he looked at Izuku and he was like, "Damn nerd. Alright, I guess I'll have to make a speech then off the spot." So he says, although some of us have fought villains, doesn't mean we're stronger. In fact, it means we're weaker. Some of us betrayed our friend. Some of us believed he was a villain. He wasn't. They believed he was the OE trader, but when they found out he didn't, or he wasn't, then they tried to get him back into. They tried to become friends with him again, but it didn't work. As soon as they thought he was a villain, they discarded him, and as soon as they thought he was a hero, or as soon as they found out he was innocent, they tried to dig him up from the garbage. But it was too late. He was already gone. His personality, his feelings, everything we knew about him has disappeared. That's why I like to make this speech about my friend, and the other three. Well, I'd like to dedicate the speech to my other three friends who actually believed in this, believed in him, and I know this is gonna be a full wipe. He's gonna absolutely rape all of us, but at least we'll try. And they're like, who is this? Well, the people in the crowd are like, who is this? Who is this person? Who is this person? And there's no way you can beat all of you. And Bakugo says, well, deal with it. He can, and he most likely will. Then they're like, who is this person? And Bakugo just says, you'll find out, and leaves the stand. And they're like, everyone's just silent. Everyone is just silent. They're all thinking to each other, there's no way this kid is that strong. He can't beat all of us. Midnight just says, alright, thank you, Katsuki Bakugo. This is the UA Sports Festival. Let's get it on. So, fucking hell. Sorry, my phone cut off. So, Zuhu just says, it wasn't metaphorical. I did die that night. And then they're like, how are you here? And then Zuko says, I'll explain another time. But for now, I still haven't accepted your apology. Because they said, we're sorry. So Zuko says that and walks off. And they understand why he doesn't accept their apology. They get it now. They realize that he wasn't a villain. And so, yeah, days go on. And it's a sports festival. Yep. So, it's a sports festival. And let's just say Midnight comes into the room and asks Izuku let's say Midnight asks Izuku to come to Teacher's Lounge. He comes in there and Midnight's like, hey, we've got a position for you. Do you want to be the representative to the school or to UA? And Izuku says, no thanks. Give it to Bakugo or something. And because he doesn't really care about it. So Midnight calls Bakugo over to the Teacher's Lounge, and Midnight says, I already asked Izuku this, but he turned it down. But do you wanna be the representative this year for the sports festival? And Bakugo says, that damn nerd turned it down. Alright, yeah, I guess I'll do it. And so Midnight's like, okay, then she writes down Katsuki Bakugo down on a sheet of paper on a clipboard, and she's like, thank you, and walks off to the Bakugo walks off back to class, and Midnight just leaves to Nizu's office. She says, oh, you've got the school representative, or the first year's representative for the year, and for the sports festival. And Nizu's like, who is it? Midnight says, well, at first we asked Izuku, but he turned it down, so then we asked, then he recommended Katsuki Bakugo. We asked him, and he said that he'll do it. Yeah, and so the sports festival happens, let's say, after the next 2 days. So it's a sports festival happening. All for One is like up now. He can like sort of walk around, but he can only do it for like a minute before he falls over. A minute before he falls over, because I want him back in this quickly. And he's watching the sports festival, and he sees Izuku, and he's like, that damn kid, he's the one who did it. I need his quirk immediately. So he's watching, then he thinks to himself, what if I watch what he does? What if I see how strong he is first? I mean, he did beat me, but maybe he wasn't even using his full power. So, sorry about that. So he goes to a TV and watches the sports festival, and it's the first year representative Katsuki Bakugo who gets called up instead of Izuku Midoriya. And One's like, Katsuki Bakugo, is that the name of the kid who did it to me, or did this to me? And he sees it's a completely different person, and he's like, that's not him. Where is he? And then he looks down, and he sees someone with a mask, and he's like, well, this makes it easy, because he's not taking it off. It's got no real purpose for it. They're like, well, how strong is it? Izuku says, well, I'll make a clone of it, make it really weak, because this one can withstand, like 15 punches. No, this one can withstand about 100 All Might Prime punches. And they're like, what? How's that even possible? And Izuku says, it just is. It's just, don't question it. It is. So Izuku's wearing a really weak one that can just shatter with like two of Bakugo's explosions. So Katsuki Bakugo, Katsuki Bakugo, so Bakugo goes up to Stan and says, I'm just gonna say, I know we're not gonna win, and they're like shocked. They're like, why would you say that? Of course they're gonna win, and of course they're gonna beat you. And Bakugo just says, no, not me, another person. And they're like, they were thinking that he was cocky at first, and they're like, wait, what if there's some? Well, then they were like, then they were saying, well, what does he mean? He's the representative, isn't he the strongest? And Bakugo says, no, I'm not the strongest, and actually, this is going to be a clean sweep, and like, there's no way that someone's that strong, like, beat everyone at everything. And Bakugo just is, well, there is, so deal with it. And he just gets off the stage, and everyone's like, or some of the people who don't know, like, who is this person? Who is it? And everyone who knows just stays silent. They know who it is, and they don't want to just say it. And Bakugo just walks off and ignores them. And so Midnight says, thanks for that sort of speech, I guess. And Bakugo just puts his thumbs up and says, yep. And yeah, so Midnight just says, alright, our first, what's it called? Our first challenge in the UA Sports Festival is, and it spins, and Midnight, and it stops, and Midnight's like, obstacle race. And then President Mike and Midnight explain, about the obstacle race and and everything, like not leaving the area and making sure you get through the entire thing. And President Mike, after they're done explaining, President Mike just says, Aizawa, do you know who this mystery person is? And Aizawa just says, yeah, I do. And President Mike is like, is he seriously that strong? He could beat Bakugo and everyone in this arena, like right now. And Aizawa says, I'm not sure. We haven't actually seen his full power yet, but with what we've seen, what we've seen with him, he can beat All Might with he can beat All Might with a single strike. And then President Mike's like, what? No, All Might's the strongest. And Isaiah's just like, not anymore. President Mike is really confused. He's like, can you give us a description of him? And Isaiah says, no, you'll find out anyway. And so they're like, alright, 3, 2, 1, go. And as they say go, everyone's just running through the hallway except for Izuku. He's just walking into the hallway and down the hallway. I need to clear my nose. Alright, so, let's just say that they had a camera inside the tunnel, and they see just one person walking, and they have a really weird mask on, and they're like, really confused, like, hey, how come that person has a mask? And Isaiah says, and why is he walking? Is he thinking it's just a joke? And Isaiah just says, nope, that's him. And they turn and look at Isaiah, and like, he's who? And well, that's who. And Isaiah says, he's the one, or he's the strongest one here. And they're like, then why is he walking? And then Aizawa says because of this, and as he says because of this, like, ice just goes down the hallway, and Izuku just jumps over the ice before it can touch him. Everyone else was frozen in place, and Aizawa is just like, he knew that Todoroki was up to something. He realizes that he's only using his ice, so he's gonna freeze the hallway. He wouldn't have been able to jump if he was in a giant mosh pit, so that's why he stayed back. And everyone just looked at him and was like, there's no way he predicted the entire thing. And he's like, Aizen's smart, so he can plan someone's entire life. Yeah. He's as smart as Aizen, so he can plan someone's entire life. Though he's not going to. He's had 100 years of mind training as well. So, he, so Aizawa says, well, at the moment, he's smarter than Nezu. And everyone's just like, there's no way he's smarter than Nezu. And then Aizawa says, he did an IQ test, and we found out his IQ is like about triple Nezu's. And no, wouldn't it be more? It'd be like 1,000, wouldn't it? Oh, Nezu is like 295, so it'd be about triple, yeah. So it's triple Nezu's, and they're all shocked. They're like, well, then what's his IQ? So yeah, 295. I can just take off 15 of 900. So he has 800. His score on the IQ test is 885, and they're all shocked. Now I'm just gonna say 900 to make it easier. Score of 900, and they're all like, he's that smart. And Aizawa says, yep. Take it from someone who has to teach him. And they're like, right, people are right, we have to teach him. Let's just say that Mike wasn't teaching for a few weeks, so he doesn't know about Izuku being really, really smart. And Aizawa says, he basically doesn't have to show up to school. He doesn't need to go up. He doesn't even need to learn anything. He's learnt everything. So Mike is shocked. So let's continue with the race. So the race is going on. Izuku just body flickers in front of everyone, and just starts walking. And then he sees a 0-pointer. He walks up to it. Everyone's like, is he crazy? I know you said he's strong, but he can't just walk up to a 0-pointer. The 0-pointer is just aiming down, about to punch him. He's about to punch him. And Izuku just puts chakra in his fist, taijutsu style, and he just hits the 0-pointer with some chakra infused taijutsu. And they see that the entire arm and head of the 0-pointer is gone. And let's say they have sensitive mics, and they zoom in on Izuku Midori, and he's like, wow, that was weak. I only used 0.001% of my power. And they're like, what? There's no way. But then they see the replay, and they just see Izuku just touching the 0-pointer with his finger, and it just explodes. And they're like, there's no way. He's stronger than All Might. And everyone's like, wait, if he's stronger than All Might, then why doesn't he become a pro hero now? I'm sure they'd let him do that. And Izuku has sensitive hearing. No. Izuku had some clones set up near the the participants, and whenever they had something interesting, they'd leave, and then he could get all their memories. And since they have sensitive mics, they hear him say, "Well, I don't want to, be a pro Harry yet. I have something left I need to do," and they're like confused. They're like, "How'd you hear us?" And Izuku just makes a guess, saying that saying that they said how the thinking that they were saying, "How did you hear us?" And Izuku says, "Because I can." And they're confused. They're like, "Okay." And so Izuku just continues walking. Todoroki's like halfway through the canyon at this point. He's just using his let's say it was someone else that got him to use his power his fire, and they did it early. So he's using his fire to launch his way across the canyon. And Izuku, let's just say he gets up to the canyon, and Todoroki's at the end. He turns around, sees Izuku, and he just pulls a face at him. And then Izuku just teleports right behind Todoroki. That was in front of So Todoroki was turned around, and Izuku teleports behind him. So he's now in front of him in the obstacle race, and he starts walking forward. And Todoroki, let's just say Izuku was out faster. He saw an after image of Izuku, and they saw he was starting to fade away, and as he was starting to fade away, President Mike says, "Wow, Izuku Midoriya took the first place spot from Todoroki, or second place spot from Todoroki, because Bakugo's still in first." So he's like, "What?" Then he turns around and he sees Izuku's just walking right in front of him, walking away from him toward the minefield. So Todoroki's like, "Damn it!" And he shoots a fire blast at him, and Izuku just disappears, and he's right in front of the minefield now, and everyone's like, "What? How did he do that? Does he have like a teleportation quirk?" And President Mike asks this to Aizawa, and Aizawa says, "Well, I heard from him that it's just his plain speed." And President Mike's just like, "There's no way. You can't teleport with speed, with speed alone. No one's that fast." And Aizawa just says, "Well, he is." And so, yeah, so Izuku is up to the minefield now. Bakugo is exploding himself halfway. He sees Izuku. He gets to the end. Izuku is just walking over the mines. They're exploding, but they're not sending him into the air because he's infusing chakra with his feet, so he stays on the ground, and they're like not even damaging him. So, it's gone long enough. I might end it here. I'll get to the end of the race. So Izuku is just walking across the minefield, and Bakugo gets to the end. He stops, turns around, and just sits down because he knows that Izuku's gonna win anyway. So he sits down, waits for Izuku to get over the end, and he's walking in front of him. Let's just say Todoroki, he used too much of his fire. He fell down to the bottom of the pit, and he eventually made his way up, but it was like, whoa. Izuku and Bakugo were walking, so Izuku was walking to the exit with Bakugo right behind him. Bakugo knew that if he even tried to get in front of him, Izuku would just body flicker to the end. And so Todoroki is just using his ice to get as far forward as he can, or using his fire's jet propulsion. Let's say that he can only do this for about 10 seconds because he's learning how to use both sides at once. So he's getting near Bakugo and Izuku, and then then he hears Izuku Midoriya, first place, Katsuki Baki, second place, Shoto Todoroki, third place, and because he was like right behind them, but they were already at the end of the tunnel by the time that they did it. So that's the 3 order, and yeah, I'm ending it off here. So we start off with, we ended off last time with Izuku versus Ida, and he beat Todoroki, broke half of his bones in his body, and he started, he started walking up the stage to fight Ida. He got on top of the stage. Ida, he remembers, or he knows Izuku isn't a villain now because like he got like he proved to Ida what about him not being a villain, and it's gonna be the fight, and Ida, before he starts, he says, Izuku, I know you're not gonna be my friend, but please at least accept my apology. And Izuku says, if you put up a good fight, then I will accept it. So they start fighting. It is doing okay. Izuku's obviously holding back. He's obviously holding back, and he's fighting. And when he's fighting Ida, he's using quite a few jutsus, and he realizes that Ida is purposely going as like hard as he can because he's trying to get Izuku to forgive him, and Izuku realizes this, and the fight goes on for a bit, and then Izuku decides to knock Ida out of the ring, and by using wind style and blowing him out of the ring. Ida tries to use reciprocal burst, and he's getting pushed back. He's getting pushed back out of the ring. And Ida, he's just thinking in his head that he can't lose. He needs to prove to Izuku that he's sorry. So he increases the output of his engines, and they literally light on fire. They're starting to burn the skin on his legs, but he doesn't care. He's trying to get to Izuku, and once again Izuku notices this, and he's thinking to himself, maybe he's truly sorry, and then he just blows him out the ring with a powerful jutsu. So Ida's out the ring. He looks down, ashamed, and walks off. He's not ashamed because he lost. He's ashamed because he can, have Izuku accept his apology. And then as he's walking back, Izuku just appears in front of Ida and says, I know, or I accept your apology. And Ida's like, but I didn't put up a strong fight. I wasn't even able to touch you. And Izuku says, you proved to me that you were trying to. You were trying to. And Ida hears this, and he tears up a bit, and he says, thanks, Izuku. And Izuku says, like you said, I'm not gonna be your friend, but I accept your apology. And Ida says, I totally understand. Ochako's still gonna be a hoe though, so I just wanted to make Ida a nice person in this one. So Izuku's forgiven Ida. So the fight between, what's the next fight again? I think it's Bakugo versus Tokiyami. Bakugo absolutely bodies him like in the original. Yeah. So yeah. Then it's Bakugo versus Zuku, and Zuku tells Bakugo that that he should at least try put up a fight, because if you because he knows that Bakugo is like really wanting to fight and win the fight, but he knows he can't, so he doesn't want to go through the hassle, so he might as well just give up. And Izuku's telling him not to. And Bakugo, when he hears this, he just doesn't he he doesn't give up, so he goes in the fight, and it's the Midnight says Izuku Midori vs Katsuki Bakugo. Bakugo, he launches explosions at Izuku. Izuku is just like fighting Bakugo, and he's the same thing happens with Ida, like him not being able to him not being able to hit him once. And so the standings: Zuku first place, Katsuki Bakugo second. It's the same, except no Todoroki, and Zuku is in first and Bakugo's in second. So Tokiyami and Ida are in third. The next day with what's it called? Next day in the classrooms, Aizawa is talking about what are they called? They're called the internships. Yeah, I think it's the internships. Yeah, so they're getting internships, and Zuku has like the most, and he doesn't know who to pick, because he's got like 7,000, and All Might tries to tell him about what's it called, about Gran Torino, and Zuku's not having it because he doesn't like All Might, but he decides to go anyway because, well, it was All Might's trainer or teacher. So the next couple days pass, and they go to their internships, and Zuku knocks on the door, opens it, and sees an old man in a pool of what looks like blood and his intestines, but it's not. It's ketchup and sausages, and Izuku notices that it's not blood, because like as soon as he walks in, he sees that it's ketchup and not blood, and he just says, "Old man, why you in ketchup?" Or why you in a pool of ketchup? And Gran Torino just gets up and says, "Oh, you noticed? Sorry, I slipped with my plate of sausages," and he slipped and landed on his plate of sausages and ketchup, and Zuku says, "Okay," are you going to take this seriously? And Gran Torino is confused by this because he doesn't know how to respond to it, because like, how are you going to take him seriously? Like, that's supposed to be his line. So Gran Torino just gets up and says, "So you noticed, huh? How about you like launch a one for all smash at me?" And Izuku says, that stupid old quirk." And Gran Torino just has like a shocked face, a shocked Pikachu face, and he looks at Izuku, and he's like, he says, "What do you mean, that stupid old quirk?" And Izuku says, "You heard me. It's like the weakest. It's like it's really weak, and it's stupid and weak." And Gran Torino, he says, but you have it. If it's weak, then why do you have it?" And Zuko says, "Who said I have it?" And Gran Torino just has another shocked Pikachu face. He looks at Izuku, and Izuku's just staring at him with a blank face. And he's taken his mask because he doesn't want to be rude. He's just staring at him with a blank face. His hair's black, and it's about Itachi length, maybe Madara length. And oh wait, no, it's white, isn't it? Fuck, it's white hair, and it's sort of Itachi length. And Izuku is just looking at Gran Torino, and Gran Torino is just looking at him, and they have like a 10-second staring contest, or they just stare at each other for 10 seconds straight, and then Gran Torino says, "Did you give it away?" And Izuku says, "No, All took it back All took it from me." And Gran Torino just has another shocked expression. He's just looking at Izuku again for another 10 seconds and says, "Why would he do that?" And Izuku's just saying because he thought I was the UA trader. And Gran Torino takes a while to respond to this again with another shocked Pikachu face. I know, shocked Pikachu faces, too many, yep. And and Gran Torino says, "Then what the hell are you doing here then?" And Izuku says, I'm here for an internship." And Gran Torino says, "I realize that, but you don't have one for all. How, what's your quirk?" And Almost says, "No, not Almost." Izuku says, "I'm quirkless." And Gran Torino just says, how did you do all those things in the sports festival?" And Izuku says, "It's a secret." And Gran Torino is just really confused at this point, and says, "Well, what do you normally do to train?" And Izuku, he's got that Lee, not personality, but like training regiment. He just says, "Oh, like 5,000 push-ups, 5,000 sit-ups, 500 squats, 5,000 wall punches, and a run around Japan." And Gran Torino just looks at him and is like, "Are you serious?" And he says, "Yes. Why am I not serious?" And Gran Torino looks at his face, sees that his facial expressions aren't changing, and he realizes he's telling the truth. And Gran Torino says, "Shit, what are you doing here then?" And Izuku just says the exact same thing. He says, "I'm here for an internship." And Gran Torino just gets pissed, and he's like, Gran Torino just gets pissed and says, "I get that, but if you're that strong already, then why are you even taking an internship?" And Izuku says, "Because I was forced to." And Gran Torino just like gives up. He just walks up to him and says, listen, you're strong enough as is. Go train with someone else, and I'll sign off your slip saying that you've trained with me these 7 weeks. And Izuku says great, and he signed the slip, and Izuku just walks into the forest and does some mental and physical training, and also some training with his Sharingan, and yeah, the 7 weeks just pass, and Izuku has gotten a tiny bit stronger. He's learnt how to use some of his jutsu. I'm gonna fully give him wood style. I was hesitating on this, but he's also a reincarnation of, or not, yeah, sort of, yeah, he's a reincarnation of Indra and Ashura. So he has the wood style from, I think it was Ashura, because of the Senjus, and Hashirama. So he uses wood style, and he uses wood style, and he's fully mastered it over that week, and let's say he's mastered some of the aspects of his Sharingan. Like he knows how to use. He knows how to fully use Amaterasu without it affecting him that much. So he after he uses it, it doesn't hurt his eye, but he knows how to fully use Amaterasu now, and Zuku made his own jutsu, and it's sort of a mix between the flying Raijin and a lightning style. It's a mix between flying Raijin and lightning style, and he calls it Thunder Flash. It's where he puts up the seals like Minato does, and he infuses it with a certain type of seal that could use lightning style. So whenever he teleports, it creates a lightning trail on wherever he goes. So if he sets them up around like a sphere, like Minato does, and just constantly teleports like he does as well, it creates a sort of thunder or lightning, sort of a lightning cage or sphere that they just constantly get hit by, because it's quite hard to explain, but if you know what I mean, he can create lightning trails that goes right through people, and it electrocutes them in their insides, and more than half the body, because it's made of 70% water. So it's quite effective, and it knocks them out for about a day, or a bit more than a day, so like about 2 or 3 days. So as Zuku is using his new technique and it uses new technique and creates never mind, I'll skip ahead to the next week. So it's the race against all the other students, and some people are saying, or everyone else is saying, oh, I think Ida's gonna win, or I think Ida's gonna win, and they all think Ida's gonna win. Alright, it's the Stain arc. Whoops. So the Stain arc, Izuku notices that there's some explosions going on, he body flickers over to the location of where Ida was. He doesn't know Ida was there, and right before he was about to get stabbed for the first time, so when he's about to start fighting him, Izuku just like knocks him out with his new technique. He just knocks Stain out with his new technique, and Stain's just unconscious for like 2 days, and he just ties him up, teleports him to the police station, and then just or body flickers to the police station with Stain, and just body flickers away back to Ida and says, "Are you alright?" And Ida says, "Yeah, thanks." And Izuku, well, now it's the race, and everyone's saying, "Oh yeah, I think Ida's gonna win because he hasn't got this injury." And then all the people who believed Izuku were like, "I think Izuku's gonna win," and that includes, that includes a couple of people like Shoji and that includes Shoji and maybe another person who is like regretful of what they've done. Well, everyone else is, but they're more regretful. So they just say, "Oh yeah, Izuku's definitely gonna win," and some of the people get it, but others are like, "What do you think he's gonna win? He's got like an elemental type quirk," and they're just like, "Oh, you'll see." And right when the matches start, Izuku just sits down, and Seru is in first place, and like, "Look, see, I see," or "See, I said," or some people are like, "See, Seru's winning." People were thinking Ida's gonna win, like, "Oh, come on, Ida," and then they see the camera of Izuku just sitting down, and they're like, "He's not even taking this seriously." And then right before, like 5 seconds before Seru's gonna touch All Might, Izuku just body flickers to All Might, touches him, and he wins. And everyone's like, "Where did he come from?" And the people who were looking at the Izuku camera, laughing at him and like saying, "Look, he's gonna lose," and just see Izuku disappear. And right when he disappears, almost says Izuku Midoriya wins. I look at the other camera and see Izuku touching All Might, and not like that. I mean, like, he's touching All Might's arm. Not he's just touching All Might's arm. Okay, nothing sexual about it. Okay, so he's touching All Might's arm, and All Might saying, "Okay, Izuku Midoriya wins," and everyone's like, "How did he get there? Did he like slide on, or did he run here really, really fast?" And the people who are watching the Izuku cam, it's just say Ochako and Toru, because fuck them. They just say to the others that, that was it looked like he teleported, and they were just shocked. They were like, "He has a teleportation quirk," and they're really confused. So the day ends, and he walks out, and he sees Nejire running up behind him, and just hugs him and says, "Hey, how you been?" And like, "Hey, how you been?" And Izuku says, "Oh, well, we had a test for the after the race, or like the we had a test to see who could get All Might first, or touch All Might's arm first. Touch All Might first, or get to All Might first, yeah." And Nichiro's like, "Oh, how'd it go?" And Izuku says, "Not any different." And Nijiro sighs and says, "Oh yeah, I guess that's expected." And Izuku, he's just like, "Oh, okay, you wanna hang out?" And Nijiro says, "Okay." So Izuku, he texts Inko, best mom Inko, so she's not gonna, she believed that Izuku was innocent and like tried to get him, out of jail with Bakugo and the other three. The other three. And so Zuko texts Inko saying, "Oh yeah, I'll be out with a friend, and Nidra did the same. Texted her parents, saying, "Oh yeah, I'll be out with a friend," and they hang out. They go to go to a it's a in I was gonna say an amusement park, but it's already like quite late with when school ends it's quite late, so they go hang out at and in a park, and then they go to a restaurant. They buy some food, eat it, then take away the leftovers, and they walk. Izuku walks Ninja back to her house, and says, "Thanks for today." And Ninja is like, "Oh yeah, anytime." Ninja is sort of blushing a bit, and Izuku sees this, and he kind of blushes. He blushes under his mask, but she can't see this. And Izuku says, I'll see you tomorrow at school." And Nidri just says, "Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow." And so the day ends. They go to school. The days are relatively similar up to the what's next? I think it's training camp park. Up to the training camp park, yeah. So up to the training camp park, everything's similar. Nijiri and Izuku hang out a couple of times, and at the training camp park, Izuku was going to confess, or no, Nijiri was going to confess Izuku's feelings before the trip, but she couldn't, so she decided that after the trip she was going to do it, and like no matter what, even if she was nervous and not wanting to do it. So they go on the bus, and they get off, and of course Meadows wanting to pee, and the Wild Wild Pussycats, well, Mandalay and Pixie Bob, come out and say meow or whatever, and Mandalay is explaining about, or it's either Mandalay or Pixie Bob, I don't know. Mandalay, I'll just say Mandalay, explains that they can use their quirks all they want, and that it's that they need to be at the end of the at the training camp cabins by the end, or by 12, or they won't get any lunch. And Izuku knows what's going to happen. He grabs Sue, Kirishima, and who was the other one? It was Momo. He grabs Sue, Kirishima, and no, he grabs Sue and Momo, and Bakugo grabs Kirishima, and Bakugo just explodes so that he doesn't get thrown off the cliff, and they land safely, and Izuku just body flickers down, and they get put down. Well, yeah, they get put down on the ground, and they just stand, and Izuku says, "Mind your head," and they're like, "What?" And all the other students start falling from the sky and landing. They all dodge them, and they all say, "Hey, you could have warned us." And Izuku says, if you don't know what how to sense when things are going to happen, you're not going to be a good hero. let's just say that he tells Bakugo to grab Kirishima. Bakugo grabs Kirishima confused, and then they do the thing. So Bakugo just asks Zuko how he knew that was going to happen, and Zuko he says, I have great sensing abilities, or I sensed that she was going to pull something, that Pixie Bob was going to pull something, and Bakugo, not wanting to press any further, just says, yeah, alright. Zuko just grabs Momo, body flickers to the camp, lets her go, just lets her go, and then body flickers back, does the same with Sue, then Kirishima, then Bakugo, and he was thinking of doing it to Ida, but then he remembered that they weren't friends. He just forgave him, and so they just wait there, and Mandalay, Pixie Bob, and Aizawa just show up, and like, how'd you guys get here? And Aizawa notices it's just those five. Pixie Bob says, how did you get here before us? And Aizawa notices that specifically those five, and Aizawa knows, then he realizes that Zuko just got them here quite fast, and it was only them because they were the only ones who believed that he was innocent. And Aizawa just says, Aizawa doesn't say anything. Then the others come, and they're exhausted. They're exhausted, and they're like angry at Izuku, but they also know that they didn't leave him, and it's sort of it's their fault that Izuku died, and so, God, I feel a bit dizzy now. It's their fault that Izuku died, and they're not sure, or they know that he won't, forgive them unless they do something like that they'll really know, or that they'll know that he really likes, something like that. And so, training camp goes on, except Izuku's not doing that fucking useless training with the up down leg arm thingamajiggy that he was doing in canon. He's training his chakra natures and chakra control, and they're like, how many cloaks does he have? And Aizawa says that's confidential. Even then as I was saying, thinking, said we can't tell him that he's actually quirkless, and because Aizawa knows that he's quirkless because he told him, and he's tried to cancel his quirk a few times, but it's not worked. And so then the villains come, and they try to oh wait, no, not the fuck. I need to delete the stain arc part. Okay. So I put in the stain arc part, and I'm going to delete it after I finish this video, because I realized that he got betrayed at the stain arc, as well as the fucking fuckity fucking fuck. Well, you get what you're given, okay? No stain arc and no fucking Gran Torino shit. Well, yeah, I'll say Gran Torino, it was him fighting Stain for some fucking reason. So, yeah, deal with it. So, Izuku, he's training, and the villains come, and Izuku is, he notices that something's off with this atmosphere. And, oh man, I really want to fucking leave this shit after what's happened. Okay, so the villains come and he knows something's wrong with the atmosphere. He uses his you answer in the description below if you want Zuko to have the fucking Byakugan. Man, I'm pissed. If you want Zuko to have the Byakugan because he's the reincarnation of Indra and Ashura as well, and they're related to Hagoromo, who's half Otsutsuki, and Otsutsuki's have the Byakugan. So he exits the he leaves the building, or not the building. He's in the forest doing the test of courage, and he notices that that there's something, and he notices something's wrong when he's in the test of courage, and the villains attack. He notices he knows about Koda and where his spot is, so he body flickers to Koda. He sees him about to be attacked by Muscular. Muscular looks at him and say, "Kid, move out the way, or I'll move out the way so I can get this brat if you don't want to die." And then he says, "Wait, no." He doesn't say, "Wait, you're on the list," because he looks like nothing like him. And he says, "Who are you? Who are you anyway?" And Zuko says, "Izuku Midoriya." And Muscular says, "You're on the list. I guess today's my lucky day." And he's charging up a punch. He's about to hit Izuku, and Izuku just catches it with one hand, or with one finger, with chakra imbued in it. And Muscular is shocked. He puts on his, he gets, he decides to go full power, and decides to try to punch Izuku again. This time, Izuku has to use a hand. Yeah, one hand, not one finger again, but he has to use his hand. But it's his, it's when he does this, Muscular feels like he's just punching a brick wall, and he's saying, an iron wall, and it hurts, and he's saying, "Ouch." Well, what the hell's your quirk? Something like that. And Muscular is getting quite angry, and right before he hits him again, Zuko just does a fire style, and says, "Fire style, great majestic flame destroyer," and he uses it on Muscular and burns him to a fucking crisp. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. Pardon me. My brain's gone dead after what's fucking happened. I'm so angry at myself for that. So, he just grabs Koda, body flickers over to the, the camp, and they say Bakugo's been taken, something like that. And Zuko notices Bakugo getting pulled into the thingamajiggy. Yeah, that happens again. But this time, Zuko just body flickers to the portal and enters it, and he sees the League of Villains, and he just activates his fucking Sharingan and uses his fucking Susanoo and just slices the entire building in half. Takes Bakugo, because he's pissed since he's like one of his only friends. He's only got 4 friends now, and they took his best friend. He just grabs Bakugo and just slices the entire building in half, cutting through, like slicing Spinner in half. Not Spinner in half. Spinner's at the training camp. Well, yeah, he slices Spinner in half. Slices Spinner in half, and everyone's shocked that he's created a fucking 120-meter, like, sort of spirit, like, spirit samurai, and they're like confused, shocked, and angry at the same time, since, or scared at the same time, because this they just see this thing slice an entire building in half, and this is the inside of the building. So yeah, when he does this, he grabs Bakugo and just body flickers away. I am so angry. I'm going to leave this video here. We start off with, last time we ended off with Izuku. Izuku body flickering away with Bakugo, and they get to the same location as they were in canon when they were watching the All Might vs. All For One fight, and since the fight doesn't, let's say the fight still happens, and All Might is getting his ass kicked, and Izuku doesn't really care. He's just, watching this happen, and let's say, All Might, since he was struck by lightning, he's a bit weaker. Oh yeah, since he was struck with Izuku's kidding, he's a bit weaker, so he's losing the fight, and Bakugo just says, I know you hate him, but you have to save him. And Izuku says, fine, and he body flickers over to where All For One is. All Might sees Izuku and is like, no, you can't fight him, he's too strong. And as soon as All For One sees Izuku, he's like, nope, I'm out. But before he can leave, he gets just like his head cut off completely, sliced completely clean off. It's just dropped on the floor. So everyone who's filming sees a kid with a mask. One of you said to have him wear the sort of Kakashi mask, or the Kakashi mask and the headband to disguise the Rinnegan. So I'm gonna do that. He has the mask underneath, and he puts on the Obito mask as his hero outfit, but he wears the Kakashi mask and the headband throughout the normal day. And he, throughout UI High, he just has that on, and he has the headband over it, the headband over his, left eye. Not his Rinnegan, his Rinne Sharingan. Okay. Well, it's, slight, difference. It doesn't really matter. But it covers his Rinne Sharingan. People wonder why he has it covered, and since this happens, some people ask, why do you have a headband covering your eye? And Izuku says, it's none of your business. And the only people he tells is the other four who believed him. So Momo, Bakugo, Sue, and Kirishima. He tells them that he has something called the Rinne Sharingan, and it uses up energy when he uses it, so he covers it up so it doesn't use any of his energy, or his he just says his energy, but it's called he knows it's called chakra. He just doesn't say that because, well, he doesn't want to. He just says energy. So yeah, when he slices All For One's head off, he the people on TV see a kid with the Obito mask on. He's got one red eye with three weird dots on them, and then the center dot being the his pupil, and his left eye being a purple eye with rings around it and 6 of the dots surrounding it. So, as I said before, Izuku's Sharingan ability is going to be, or Rena's Sharingan ability is going to be the object swap, like Sasuke's. So the news is filming this and asking, who's this kid? And after the fight, one of the news reporters tries to get up to Izuku and say, who are you, and like, what are you doing here? But before they can, Endeavor just steps in and says, it's too dangerous, you need to stand back. And they just film Izuku as leaves like start swirling around him, and it covers swirling around him as he disappears, as and the leaves like just disband, and so it creates like a sort of mini tornado, kind of like Sasuke in the Chunin exams when he shows up to fight Gaara. So this happens, and it's filmed, and Bakugo sees this, all of Class 1A see this, and they're like shocked and like scared because Izuku just cut the head off of the number 1 villain, and he just disappeared, and it looked like he didn't even give, it didn't look like he it didn't look like he even gave 2 fucks, so, and like, he didn't even try, and Wolf 1 seems scared of him like he knew him before. So when he gets back to UA, the dorms are put in, and Izuku, he's asked by everyone like how he knew Wolf 1, and Izuku says, I went over to him and beat his ass. And I think I said that he told them something like that. No, he told Ida and Uraraka, I'm pretty sure. Those are the only ones he told. And so he tells them that he went over there one time and beat his ass. And they were like shocked and confused. Like, how did you get over there? How do you know where they were? And Izuku says, I put a teleportation, or I put a seal on them so I could basically teleport to them anytime I wanted. And they were thinking that, that maybe he does have a teleportation quirk, but he needs to put something down on, or put like a mark or a seal, as he put it, down on something, because he says that, or he said that, and it wasn't a teleportation quirk that he used in the, well, it wasn't a teleportation quirk that he used in the sports festival, because he didn't put any seals down anywhere, and so they believed that it was just his pure speed and strength alone that made it so he could, teleport, or so look like he teleported. Well, he sort of is teleporting because he's going light speed. Anime spoilers if you haven't seen it that far ahead in Shippuden, they can go light speed. So Izuku just walks into the building, the building before everyone else, and when he gets in, he goes to his room. They want to have a room contest, and Izuku's like, no, you can't come in here. And they're like, why? And Izuku's just like, because I said so. And they're like, we're coming in anyway. And Izuku says, go ahead and try. And they try to get in, but Izuku's blocking the door, and he's using a jutsu. He's using the wood style jutsu and covering the door with like wood, or merging the wood of the door with the frame so it can't be pushed open and it becomes like a solid wall. And they're shocked at this as well. They're shocked at everything. And some of them like, I'm not shocked anymore. I've seen everything. I've seen him do everything. Let's just say, Bakugo he's like, you damn nerd. And, oh no, he wasn't in the contest, wasn't he? Let's say he was for like the first couple rooms. He says, you damn nerd, open the, because he wanted to see Izuku's room. He said, damn nerd, open the door. And he exploded the wall, and it revealed his room. It was like a dark room. There were lights on, so it wasn't like Tokoyami's, but the walls were black, and everyone was wondering how he got black walls. And on the wall there were posters, and on those posters, or not posters, banners, and on the banners there were crests: the Uchiha crest, the Senju crest, the Uzumaki crest, were just on the wall. And everyone saw these crests, and they were like, what are you doing in, or Bakugo asks, what are you doing in here, you damn nerd? Are you doing a ritual? And everyone just looks at Izuku and says, no, that's my no, those are my family's crests. And they were confused. He's like, you related to someone who's famous? And Izuku just says, was related to someone who was famous, or people who were famous, and they were like, who? And Izuku says, not many people you would know. And then freaking Ida just says, well, that defeats the entire purpose of them being famous. And and Izuku says, that's kind of true, but they were famous from another part of, they were famous from another part, and they were confused by what he meant by another part. And Izuku says, just think of another country. And they were like, oh, okay. And so Izuku is just like kind of laughing because of Ida's remark, like, that defeats the entire purpose, because he was kind of right. It defeats the entire purpose of them being famous if no one knows them. So Izuku, he just says, alright, get out, and he creates wood style and blocks off and pushes them out of his room, by, like, doing the sort of thing Pixie Bob did, by pushing them out of the, pushing them off of the ledge. So he pushes them out the room with the sort of waves, and just uses Earth style again to block off the wall. And then they all just leave, and Izuku just goes to sleep. And then what's the next arc? I think it's yeah, it's the dude with the camera. Yeah, it's the dude with the camera. He goes in, and he's inspecting on school life and like how everything's going. Then he's like, then he asks Izuku, "Are you my successor?" And Izuku says, "What? He says, "Why the fuck would I be his successor? He sucks. He's like the worst hero in the world anyway." And when he hears this, he's like, "Oh, so you're not his successor?" And Izuku says, "No, gosh, some random." Some random anime looking character, and and he's like, "Oh, okay," and yeah, a random person with an anime character looking face, and he's like, "Okay," and he walks off, and he sees a dude with like sort of yellowy white hair with an anime looking face, and he's like, "Is this the person?" And yeah, I'm talking about Mario Togata, because, well, he and Nijire are, almost dating yet. Yeah, they're almost dating, and so he knows about Mario and how he's been and he met him a few times, and he notices, oh, sorry about that, that's really ugly background noise. He notices that Mario has one for all, and one for all wants to go back to Izuku, and so he doesn't hang out with him that much anymore, because every time he goes near Mario, the quirk tries to go back to him, and it kind of like messes up, and Izuku says that his quirk was taken, or that he was the previous user of One for All, and All Might had taken it away from him, and it seems that it's trying to come back with me, so I don't think we can hang out that much, because it'll if you keep, plot armor, if I keep hanging out with you like a lot, then the quirk will eventually transfer over to me. I know it's not a thing, I'm just saying it is, for once again, plot armor. So Izuku is left the dorm after the camera dude left, and goes over to the third year dorms with Nejire, and sees Nejire Hado. Sees Nejire, and he's like, "Oh, Nejire, how you doing? How are you doing?" And Nejire says, "Oh yeah, I'm fine." And Izuku asks, "How are you setting in with the dorms?" And Nejire is just saying, "Oh, I'm doing fine. It's a bit, weird and different, but she can handle it." I'm going to be ending this series. Oh yeah, quick disclaimer: I'm going to be ending this series soon, because I don't want to get into the manga because of the manga spoilers. If you want me to, I'll reread it. I haven't read it in a long time, so I'll reread it, and I'll make the parts more parts with points saying manga spoilers. If you want me to. So Izuku is just hanging out with Nejire, and since it's after the the fight, Nejire asks if she can talk to Izuku in private, and Izuku says, yeah, sure. And Izuku's not wearing his Obito mask, and he walks, Nejire and Izuku walk to a private area, and Nejire says, I've been, having sort of feelings for you, and that sort of crap. I'm not good at this shit, so you get what you're given. And Izuku says, oh, okay. And Nejire says, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that. And Izuku just pulls down his mask and kisses her. Yep. And Nejire also does this. And let's say Aizawa was, he was walking by with some lecture books and files and schedules of UA, and he was passing by the third year dorms to talk to some people, and let's say talk to Mario about the big three that happened in the anime, and then he leaves and he hears them do this, and he's just like, oh, I'm proud teacher, like Problem Child is doing good in life, and shit like that. And then he thinks to himself, hope Problem Child doesn't make child, that'd be problem. And yeah, I've stolen that line from someone. I know, I'm sorry. I forgot who it was. I think it was Vibe Kage Ivan. Yeah, Vibe Kage Ivan, what if, and the Izukage, as well as actually, yeah, I think that they're the main three that got me into making what ifs, and I'd like to thank them. So, Aizawa is just like happy with a grin on his face. Zuko notices him because he heard him like walking by, and he also when they finished kissing, he used his shouting gun, and he saw him, Aizawa, like through the dark, sort of. I'll just say that he knows where he is. He knows he's there, and he knows that Aizawa is not going to tell anyone, and that he's just happy, and Izuku just keeps this to himself. So he goes back to his dorm, and then the next couple of days pass, and then Aizawa just informs about the what are they called? See, I called the other ones internships. I don't think they were the internships. I think these ones the internships. I don't really know. I'm just going to call them internships version 2. No, I searched it up. Alright. It literally took me 5 minutes to find out what it was called because none of the searches would come up with it. So, the word I was looking for was work study. So, Izuku fights, or he wants to fight, what's his name? Mario Togeda. He wants to fight him, and he doesn't, but he can't because of, well, what's happened with his quirk. Because what happens with his quirk is one for all, and it not being able to work. So he can't fight him, but he knows that Izuku's stronger than him, like every way. In the internship, he asks Mario himself instead of asking All Might, because he wouldn't do that, because he fucking hates him, and so he just goes directly to Mario, and Mario, he says, "Oh yeah, I do my work study under Sir Night. He's the pro hero, and as he's gonna say, the pro hero who does this and this." He says, "Oh yeah, I know him," and this starts telling him like he did this and that, and he worked with All Might, that scumbag. Yeah, he worked with that one scumbag who I don't really want to mention the name of. Emilio knows who he's talking about, and he's like, wow, All Might really pissed him off. So yeah, Mario says, "Oh, I'll try get you to work, to do your work study under him." And Midori's like, "Oh, thank you." Then he leaves. He bumps into Nijire, and Nijire's like, "Oh, where you've been? Oh, where have you been?" And Naruto says, "Fuck, not Naruto." Izuku says, "Oh, I've been talking to Mario, and he's trying to get me. And I asked him if he could help me do my work study under Sonidai." And Nijire's like, "Oh, did it work?" And Izuku's like, "Yeah, he's trying to get me to work study under him, and he'll like contact him. He said that he'll contact him." And Ninja's like, "Oh, okay, good luck. I hope you get in." Then Night-Eye just says, "Oh yeah, bring him in. I wanna see him for myself, see how strong he is." And so they go in. Miro's like, "Make him laugh," and Izuku's like, "I don't think they'll be hard to do." And Mario's like, oh, it's probably going to be quite hard. And Izuku says, alright, I like challenges. He gets in and, yeah, Izuku just sits down, and Naito's like, alright, so, why do you think I should, let you be, let you work study underneath me? And Izuku says, why should you? And Naito's like, what do you mean, why should I? And then Izuku's like, why should I, what should I, why? Or no, why should I what? And, and Naito's like, confused at these, like, why should I, what should I, why? And, Izuku says, why? And, I don't know, I'm just making this shit up off the top of my head. Yeah, none of my videos are scripted, by the way. So, I'm just gonna say he makes him laugh. Just get rid of all that. I don't fucking know what I was talking about. He makes him laugh, and, he's like, oh, okay, I see you have a great sense of humor. That was not fucking great, though. Just ignore it completely. It fucking sucked. It was absolutely awful. Like, suck a dick. Yeah. So, Izuku is just asking, or just, Night Eye is just saying, oh, yeah, okay, well, you can come in, or, you can work study underneath me. Then the day ends, he texts Nedre and says, oh, I, got in, fuck, I missed the, what's it called, the hero license exam. Okay, hero license exam, flashback. Izuku is, in his group of, students, and the people from Shiketsu are like, who are these people, or who are these weaklings? And then they see Izuku like, oh, fuck, never mind, who are these people? And, and then they just walk off, and the same happens with the third school, with the school with Miss Stroke, and they're like, the guy asks, oh, I think I know you. You're the guy who I saw in the sports festival. It's nice to see you, or nice to meet you. You're quite strong. And then he looks at him again. Then he realizes he looks exactly like the person who just sliced the number one villain's head off. And then he also just walks away. He's like, oh, okay, yep, great meeting you, bye. And it just happens again one more time with a different school, and then they start the license exam, and it's they're grouped up, and they're explaining rules, and Izuku is with the other four, and that's how they're grouped with. The others want to join them, but Izuku just says, if you're only here to make so that I'll be your friend again, then you can leave. I'm not going to be your friend again after what you've done. There's a chance, but there's like a very slim chance that I'll forgive you, but that still doesn't mean I'll be your friend, like Ida. And they're like Ida, what do you mean? And Izuku just says, I forgave him, but I'm not his friend. He's just a classmate to me. And they're like, oh, what did he do? And Izuku says, he did what you guys did not. And he just walks off with the other four, or trailing behind them. Ida wanted to go with him, but he knew that he wasn't. He knew that if he did, well, Izuku wouldn't like that, and it would look like he's just trying to be his friend, or just piggyback off him because he knows he's strong. So Ida just goes by himself, and then the walls drop and they start running. It's the group of five, and immediately everyone except for the group of five gets like almost destroyed. Like they all have like 1 or 2 targets left. So like half of the class has 1 target left, and the other 4 have 2 targets left, and Ida is just running around the balls and dodging, and the other 5 have already passed, and they're like, oh, pardon me, swallowed the wrong way. The proctor's like, oh, we've got 5 students already who've already, passed already, or have passed already, and everyone's like, everyone in class 1A are like, I know who they are, and Ida, he manages to get his points right after the whirlwind dude, because he's been training a lot more so that he could try and be a rival against Izuku, even though it's not going to happen. He wants to at least try, show him that he's trying to earn his trust again and be his friend. Ochako's still a hoe. Oh, I want him all to myself. Little does she know, he is already with Nejiro Hado. So that basically happens, and they barely pass. They barely pass the exam, except for the other 5. They instantly win, and they instantly win, and not win. They instantly get in, and the others barely pass. So you have 14 pissed students, 1 neutral one, and 5 who don't give a fuck. Izuku is, one who's just ignoring everyone, and the other 5 who are just not giving a fuck. Then the next exam happens, and Izuku and the other 4, they said, okay, we split up. I'll go alone. That's what Izuku says. Momo, you go with it's a Momo goes with, no, not like Sue. Momo goes with Sue and go to the water one because they'll be most efficient, and Bakugo go into the city area with Kirishima, and they go, and Izuku is like absolutely owning. He's got full 100 points so far. He's like, he's asking kids if they're kids in elderly and like normal people who have been trapped under rubble. Hey, are you okay? Do you have any like injured part? Are you injured anywhere? Does it hurt anywhere? Or do you have any broken bones in your body? Or do you have any broken bones in your body? They don't take any points off him, and he's just absolutely destroying everyone. And then Gang Orca comes, and Izuku just says multi-shadow clone jutsu, and like 500 clones come, save everyone at once, get them to the front, but right before they reach the front, Izuku just knocks out Gang Orca with a single punch, and everyone's like looking at Izuku, and they're like, damn, I knew you beat the number 1 villain, but still, you you didn't have to do that. We know you're strong. And so the Shadow Clones get everyone, bring them back to the thingamajiggy, the start, and put them down, and then like the horn goes off, the ringing, and the exam's over. Then has a scoreboard, and let's just say that there's a board with people who've got full 100 points, and there's only one name on it. Actually, no, there's two names on it. Momo and Izuku, because Izuku got full marks, and Momo is just that nice of a person, and she's that smart, so she knows that if you do something wrong, even by talking, then they'll deduct points. So that happens, and they're the only ones with full 100 marks. And everyone in Class 1A, everyone barely passes. Bakugo passes, and Todoroki doesn't. Let's say Hochako doesn't, because fuck her. Completely, I hate her, so much. Fucking hell. So, they all pass, except for those two. So, swap Uraraka and Bakugo around, and that's what you get. Because, let's just say, she used her quirk, vomited, and then dropped the rubble on top of someone. And then she got, negative 500,000 points, because I am going to slap that bitch. And when she saw that she was, got negative 500,000 points, I'm kidding, when she got 0 points because of what happened, she was like, no, I can't have my Izuku-kun, or shit like that. Now I can't have my Izuku, or, yeah, all around me, or and she's just looking at Izuku and quite sad and I wanted you all to myself, but that's never gonna happen, and shit like that. Izuku's just paying no mind to her, or she's just looking at him straight at him and no, I can't have him, and shit like that. And once again, little did she know, Nijire X Izuku. So we go back, flash present. It's the equivalent of the time you'd be at now. So go back to original time, and Izuku is going out on his first patrol with Mirio, and Eri runs into him, actually. Eri runs into Izuku. Izuku's wearing his hair costume, so he's wearing the mask, and she looks at him and a bit scared of him, but then she looks back and sees or knows that what's his name? Overhaul is coming, and Izuku pulls up his mask. Pulls up his mask, looks at her with the headband over his left eye, and the Kakashi mask covering his mouth and nose. God, that's so weird. And he's like, "Oh, are you okay? You need any help?" And Eri just says, "Please help me." And as soon as she says that, Izuku knows what's happening. He body flickers away, he creates a shadow clone, gives her to the shadow clone, and the shadow clone body flickers away. And when the shadow clone appears, he puts her down and says, "Don't worry, you'll be safe here." And this is in UA, and the real Izuku, he's just waiting. He puts his mask back down, activates his Sharingan, and then he sees Overhaul with his Sharingan, sees him approaching, and he body flickers right next to him, smacks him in the face, goes flying into a wall, and gets knocked out. Izuku, he looks at him, and he's like, "Mirio, it's Kaichiseki." And Mirio's like, "What?" And Naruto says, "Yeah, I knocked him out. He'll be out for about a day." Mirio's just says, "Hold on, I'll be there." And Izuku says, "Wait, no, remember, you can't be too close to me." And then he says, I'll come back out. I'll come back out and tell you what's happened." Because Mirio was like, a couple of meters away from Izuku, because Izuku told him that if he gets too close, then you know what will happen, and he agrees. So Izuku body flickers with Chisaki away to Naido's agency and says and leaves him with next to Naidai and said, "Hey, I got the guy you were looking for." And when what's his name? Naidai sees this or hears this and sees this, he's shocked. He's like, how'd you get him? And Izuku says, I knocked him out. And he's and Naidai's like, thanks for the amusing answer, but seriously, how did you? And Izuku says, I slapped him across the face and he went flying into a wall, then got knocked out for about he got knocked out. And or no, he doesn't say he slapped him, he says he bitch slapped him. And Naidai just looks at him and is like, okay, how strong are your slaps? And Izuku's just like, you want to find out? And Naidai's like, oh, no, I'm fine. Thanks for that other amusing answer. And Izuku's just like, all right, what do I do now? And he just says, well, is there anything else that you found out or done, with whatever? And Izuku just says, oh yeah, he cancels his shadow clone and he gets the information of where the shadow clone body flickered to. He body flickers to that location, and then he grabs Eri and says, hey, don't worry, you'll be safe with me. You'll, be with all the heroes. The heroes will try to protect you and save you and, whatever. Eri starts to activate her quirk, and Izuku just puts her in a genjutsu, and she passes out, and he uses his Sharingan, puts her in a genjutsu, and she passes out, and then he picks her up, teleports to, well, not teleports, he body flickers to Naidai, and, well, not Naidai, let's say he uses the Flying Raijin technique because it's quite far away. He Flying Raijin with Chisaki, he Flying Raijins to Naidai with Chisaki, drops him off, Flying Raijins to his Shadow Clone, and then he Flying Raijins back to Naidai with Eri, and he says, I got this girl. She was running away from Chisaki, and I think that maybe he did something to her that made her scared or something like that. And Naidai says, good job, and stuff like that. And Naidai says, I guess, what do we do with her now? And Izuku says, I guess I'll bring her to UA. Her quirk is, from the looks of it, her quirk is quite dangerous, so it needs to be trained. And Naidai says, what's her quirk? And Izuku says, I'm not sure, but when I used my, when I looked at her with my eyes, and then I saw a sort of energy that was sort of dangerous, and it looked like it could take things back, like it could take things back. And Nainai's like, what do you mean take things back? And Izuku says, well, it looked like that energy could rewind time. And Nainai, when he hears this, he's like shocked, and he's like, that's is that even possible? And Izuku says, I'm not sure. And then Nainai says, by the way, what do you mean by your eyes? And then he activates his Sharingan, and then he shows his Renegan with by lifting up the Leaf Shinobi headband. It's gonna be Leaf Shinobi, unless you want it to be something else, like something made up, maybe the village hidden in the hood. I don't know, just fucking pick something. I don't give a shit. It could be anything. But for now, I'm gonna say the Leaf Shinobi headband. So he lifts up the headband, and it shows the Rinnegan with 6 Tomoe, and the Sharingan has 3, and then it spins around and morphs into the Mangekyo Sharingan. It morphs into the Mangekyo Sharingan, and let's just say since his Rinnegan ability is Sasuke's Rinnegan ability, I'm just gonna say it looks like Sasuke's Mangekyo Sharingan, so it's his Eternal one, because Zuko has the Eternal because of a mix between Madara, when he got Indra's Sharingan, it was the Mangekyo, because Indra had the Mangekyo, and then when he got Madara's, it turned into the Eternal Mangekyo, because it was 2 separate eyes, and so he has the Eternal Mangekyo. Then he got another layer upon that, so now his eyes don't hurt at all whenever he uses it. I'm just gonna say shit like that. It doesn't really matter, because, it's quite irrelevant. So Zuko just says, Naito's like, what are those? And Zuko just explains that this is the Sharingan, and he shows the 3 Tomoe version, and he says, this is the 3rd state. The 1st and 2nd state have 1 and 2 dots in them called Tomoe, but this one has 3, so it's its 3rd stage. It has a secretive 4th stage and the eternal 5th stage. And then he shows the normal Mangekyo Sharingan, so like Sasuke's normal Mangekyo Sharingan. Then when he says eternal, it's his eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. And then he says this is a Rinnegan. It's got 6 different abilities, the 6 passive pain and things like that. So he can sort of push things out, pull them in, summon different beasts, and things like that. So Night is shocked. He's like, how many quirks do you have? And Zuko says, I'm quirkless. This is just an ability that I gained from people I trust, and people and friends I trust. And Night is like, how did they give it to you? And Zuko just says, that's a secret, and don't even try looking in my past, because it won't work. And Nido's like, what do you mean? What do you mean it won't work? And Zuko says, oh, I can make it so that you see different things when you look into my past. So he's he asks, fuck, I had a mind blank for a second. He asks Night to test his foresight his foresight. Let's just say it has an ability to look back, so it's pre-sight, pre-sight. So he looks back in time and tries to see Izuku in a certain time, and it's Izuku pulling the finger in front of a mirror, and it's basically him seeing himself pulling the finger at himself. And Night is just like, how, what did you do? Like, why did you do? That Izuku just says, yeah, fuck you, Night. And no, he doesn't say that because he wants to be nice. He's like, he doesn't pull the finger at him. He just waves and says, hey, Night. And Night shocked. He's like, how did you know I was gonna look in the future? Do you also have a sort of future sight? Izuku says, no, because I used my eyes to put you in something called a genjutsu, and it affects what you see, and it affects your senses of what you see, taste, hear, smell, and feel. So, then Izuku says, do it again, but go to the exact same point. And he goes to the exact same point, and it's just him looking at looking in the mirror, putting his headband and his mask on, and Night Eye notices that it's clearly different, and Izuku, he asks Izuku what that ability is called again, and Izuku says Genjutsu, and he says that's a weird name, but all right. Is there anything else it can do? And Izuku says, oh, it can put people to sleep. I can put people to sleep, and Night Eye is just like, oh, alright, okay, that's quite useful as well. And so, Night Eye is basically complimenting, like, Izuku's abilities. Hold on, I'll be back. Okay, anyway, where was I? So, I'm gonna go for like a minute longer. So, he's going to Night Eye and saying things about what he can do. He can use something. He can use different elements like he saw in the sports festival. And Night Eye is looking at him and he's like, "How many abilities do you have?" And Izuku says, "Too many to count." And no, Night Eye. Fuck, I almost called him Foresight. What the fuck? So, Night Eye knows what, Izuku can do now. And he basically, leaves and he goes to Nijire, he goes to Nijire, and Nijire is like, "Oh, how'd your first day go?" And Izuku just says, "Oh, well, it went fine. He took down a major drug dealing mob leader, and his name was Kaichisaki." And Nijire's like, "You what?" And Izuku says, yeah, I know, I'm sorry, it's dangerous, I get it." And Nijire's like, "Congratulations." And Izuku's like, "Oh, that's what you meant." And Nijire says, "Yeah, what did you think I meant?" Not Naruto. Izuku's singing and said, "I thought she'd freak out like I did something really dangerous." And Izuku just says, nothing at all. And so, Izuku's like, "Hey, you want to go get something to eat?" And she's like, "Sure. What do you want to go?" And Izuku says, "Oh, I know this really good barbecue restaurant." And Nijire's like, what's with you and barbecue?" And Naruto says, "No, fuck." Izuku says, "Oh, nothing, I just really like it." And Nijire's alright. They ask, Aizawa, and Nijire asks her teacher if they can go to, go out and get something to eat. And they're like, "Oh, you guys been dating?" And Aizawa, they just say no. And then Aizawa just spills the beans to her teacher, saying like, "Oh yeah, I overheard them. Just don't say I said anything, because they'll get mad at me." Izuku already knows that Aizawa's gonna say, but he doesn't really mind. So they go out, get some barbecue, take leftovers again, and, well, yeah. Okay, this is going to be the end of the video. Hello, this is What If here, and this is What If Izuku Was Betrayed Part 7, I think. Betrayed and experimented on. If you like this video, like, subscribe. Almost at 100 subs, up to 85 right now. 100 sub special, you guys get to pick what if I will do. And in this video, I'll get up to the end of the anime, and the anime movie will be coming out later today. And when I start the manga, I'll finish it up to the before the what's it called? Before the war arc, because it's quite long and I don't want to go through every little detail. And the manga movie will be coming out then. So yeah, let's get this video started. So we start with Deku. He just went out with Nijiri, and the next day of class happens, and Aizawa announces the UA festival. I forgot what it's called. I think it's just the UA festival. So Aizawa was talking about the UA festival, and everyone says like what they want to stall. That's what it is. What stall they want, like what they want. And instead of Izuku saying a hero quiz, because he doesn't really like the heroes anymore after what they did, Izuku just says that he had like a tournament sort of thing, sort of like Bakugo, but except for the fight to the death part and fight or tournament fight. And so they decide on the concert, like Todoroki says, and Izuku, they start doing what they do in the anime, like practices. They see Bakugo play the drums, and everything happening. Mina dancing, and instead of Izuku dancing, instead of him not dancing, Mina's like, oh, show us what you got. Like, not dancing horribly. Izuku just says, I'm not doing it. And Mina says, why not? Izuku says, I'm not dancing. And Mina says, so come on. And Izuku, he gets mad at this and just activates his shotgun gun and says, who are you to tell me what to do? And Bakugo just says, no, not Bakugo, Kirishima. Yeah, let's say Kirishima. He just says, come down, Midoriya. Just show us what you got. And Izuku says, go on then, Mina. And Mina's like, what do you mean? And Izuku says, start dancing. And she's like, oh, okay, and starts dancing. Meanwhile, Izuku uses his shotgun gun to look at all the moves that Mina is doing and copies them perfectly, like down to a T. And so let's just say Mina tripped up once while she was doing it. She accidentally took another step, and Izuku didn't take another step. And so they were like, oh, how'd you get so good? And Izuku says, never have been. And like, how long have you danced? And Izuku says, never danced in my life. And they're like, or they say, you sure you've never danced in your life? And Izuku says, yeah, I'm just good at copying moves. And they don't get it because they don't know what the Sharingan can do. They only think it can make illusions, and that's it. And Deku, oh no. The next couple of days pass, and Mario shows up with Eri, and Izuku just acts like he doesn't care, and like, hey Eri, what you doing? And asks Mirio what she's doing here, and Mirio says the same thing, like she's staying here for a while, something like that. And like, would you like to take a walk around? No, not staying here. She just gets out the hospital because, well, she needs to have a look around because of the festival and everything that happened with Nezu. He explains it like how they want Eri to go to the UA festival, but she needs to get used to UA, so they let her out. So Izuku and Mirio look around for a bit, and then Monoma shows up. It's like, oh, if it isn't Izuku, or not, yeah, if it isn't Izuku Midoriya from Class 1A, and like, starts bitching, and Izuku activates his Sharingan and just looks at him with dead eyes, really intimidating, puts a genjutsu on him, make it look like he's right, like huge, like right up close to him, and Monoma just passes out, and Izuku just walks off with Eri and Monoma as if it never happened. And yeah, it was quite funny, because the dude, I forgot his name, the welding dude, was just watching what happened and just saw Monoma just pass out, and they just walk off talking. He found it funny, and so they, Eri is just talking about how she likes apples and candy. She wants a candy apple because that's what Zuko told her. And they're like, oh, sorry, we have to switch you to the whatever team, or the effects team, because, you know. And Zuko, he's not fucking dumb. He just says, why the hell don't you just get someone who's already on the effects team to grab the rope and pull Monoma across, Aoyama across, or I could just use a gravity quirk. And they just looked at each other, and Izuku says, yeah, you didn't fucking think of that, didn't you? And I swear to fucking Lord, why the hell did they not do that in the anime? I am confused. I am, like, really confused. So they practice the rope phrase, and Momo just says, oh yeah, I'll make a rope. And Zuki says, no, I'll just go down to the shops tomorrow morning. I think it was tomorrow, the next day that this festival was happening. Yeah, he says, yeah, I'll just go get it tomorrow morning. And Momo just says, alright. So then Zuku goes down to, wakes up and starts to head down to the convenience store, and they were talking. Then a couple nights before, it was the whole thing about him watching the video and the tea, and he wasn't looking for All Might's thing. He just mistapped the video because he wouldn't be looking at All Might, like, you know. He wouldn't be looking at videos of All Might because, you know. So he just goes down to the store and bumps into Gentle Criminal again, and Gentle Criminal says the whole thing about about the tea, and how he just had like a really expensive tea. Forgot what it was called, but Izuku says, oh yeah, I had that last night, because he did drink it. Well, it wasn't, yeah, I think it was last night. I had it one time, and he knows who it's Gentle Criminal. He's just playing it off, and Gentle Criminal just does his whole thing, and Izuku's just acting calm. And as Gentle Criminal's walking off, and Izuku just puts his things down and says, "You're Gentle Criminal, aren't you?" And he turns around and is like, "Yes." He says something about it, and they have that conversation about Yue and a girl's dreams, and little girl's dreams, and Gentle Criminal talking about his dreams, and Izuku says, "I'm not gonna let you take them away from her," and just jumps at Gentle Criminal, but he knows there's a an elasticized barrier of air, so right as he's about to get to it, he activates his shotgun gun and puts Gentle Criminal under a genjutsu to make it look like he bounced all the way back, but really he just appeared right in front of him, and Gentle Criminal was like, like when I pulled my cloak off, I put an elasticized barrier of air, and right after he says air, he gets hit in the face, knocked back, and he managed to regain himself, and Gentle Criminal was like, "How did you do that?" And Zuki says, "I work with the mind." And Gentle Criminal jumps off with La Brava, and she says to Gentle Criminal again, "Hey, Gentle, I think I've seen him before." And Gentle Criminal says, "Yeah, where?" And La Brava says, he won the UA Sports Festival. And Gentle Criminal's like, "Really? No, really? No, we gotta leave now." And La Brava says, "Yeah, he won by a mile, apparently. I saw him, and I saw what happened, and he won by a mile." And so they're jumping off, and Izuku is just sees them running off, jumping off the air and running away, and Izuku just follows them by floating, not floating, maybe floating. He does what Guy does, so he's jumping on the air by using kicks, because his kicks are so powerful, it makes it so that air is basically, his kicks are so fast that it compresses the air before it can move, and turns it so that you can step on it. And so Izuku just catches up to them and is like, "Where are you two going?" And Gentle Criminal sees Izuku just right beside them, and he just knocks them out. And he picks them up, and he knocks them out with let's say a Susanoo bitch slap. So the hand's coming out, and he just slaps them with the back of his hand, and they go flying backwards. Izuku just catches them with the Susanoo though, and brings them in and holds them in his hands before dispelling the Susanoo. He goes to Yue. He gives Gentle Criminal, and he goes up to midnight in one of the teacher's rooms, and gives Gentle and La Brava to midnight, and says, "Oh yeah, I found these two. They're criminals who post stuff on YouTube." And she says, "Oh, okay." And he says they rob a lot of places and stole about, I don't want to get into it because, well, it's, I don't know the conversion of yen to dollars, so I'm not even going to go there. He just says that he stole a certain amount that's a lot, and Midnight says that's a lot, and Zuko says yeah. So he leaves, he disappears, body flickers back to the bag where the rope was, and body flickers back, and he just gets dressed with the rest of them normally because, well, he isn't late this time, and so they get changed, and Zuko gives the rope to Kirishima and says, I'm if you guys didn't have me, then then you guys would have probably died ages ago." And I'm so confused. Why the hell they didn't just use Uraraka's quirk and get someone from the effects team to just carry Aoyama? And so yeah, so they start the concert. Bakugo says, "Let's explode them with our noise." And Zuko, or as soon as he just explodes, and the shockwave goes throughout the entire stadium, Zuko activates his what's it called? He activates his Sharingan and uses... No, actually no. He just uses a great majestic fire destroyer jutsu, and great majestic destroyer flame, and he blasts with Bakugo, or not with Bakugo, like right after Bakugo, and it just fills up the entire room, or the entire stadium, and everyone almost dies, but Zuko just, he let's just say he gets rid of it, because instead of, he just gets rid of it, and Zuko is just, he gets rid of the flame before it can hurt anyone. And so the concert happens, everyone's like, "Oh yeah," and Eri starts smiling, and Zuko sees this while he's dancing, and then after it happens, Zuko starts crying like in the anime, because Eri is happy and smiling. And then the beauty pageant happens, the whole thing happens, and then he gives the candy apple to Eri. She likes it like before, and so that ends. And then the meetup with Hawks and Endeavor happens, and I've really forgotten what happens in this point. But then the thingamajiggy just breaks the window. Then Endeavor just flies out the window and starts fighting the Nomu. And it's super regenerative. Did I just say regenerative? I meant regenerative. So it's like regenerating really fast. And Zuko sees this, and although he hates Endeavor, he doesn't want the current number one hero to die, because that will look bad. So he just appears right next to Endeavor. Endeavor says, who are you, kid?" And Zuko says, "You've forgotten me." And Endeavor takes a good look at him and says, "Wait, you're him. You're the one who came first in the sports festival." And then he just gets an angry look and says, "You almost destroyed my my property, or my toy, or not toy, my I forgot what he says, but my Shoto, destroyed my Shoto." And Zuki says, he was weak anyway, and Endeavor is like, "He was not weak, he was stronger than, he's going to be stronger than All Might." And Zuki says, no, he'll be stronger than All Might and become the number one hero. And Izuku says, you got one of those right. He'll definitely be stronger than All Might, but he definitely won't be the number one hero. And Endeavor gets quite angry at this, and Izuku says, look, calm down, I'll just, deal with him. And Endeavor says, hey, you don't have a fire quirk. And Izuku says, who said I doesn't have a fire, who says I don't have a fire quirk? And he just activates his shotgun gun, looks at Endeavor, and then turns back around, looks at the Nomu, and closes one eye, and says, Amaterasu! And, sorry, that was a bad impression. He just says Amaterasu, and, black flames start appearing on the Nomu, and the Nomu tries to, get the flames off, but it's not working, because, that's not how Amaterasu works. So he rips his head off, trying to get away from the flames, and Zuko just says Amaterasu again, but this time on the head, and it can't regenerate its head, so it dies. And that whole thing happens. The media was watching this, and Izuku just disappears, body flickers away, and Endeavor just stands there with his hands open, and his eyes wide open, his mouth gaping like a fish, and he's like, what the hell just happened? And, so the media caught this of, Izuku leading, Nomu. They don't know how strong the Nomu was, though, because the fight with the Endeavor and the Nomu doesn't happen, so they don't know that he's got, Izuku could have just bodied Endeavor, and so they don't really rank him that high, because, well, he's still not temporary hero, he's got his hero license, it's just he's a hero in training, so he doesn't have a rank yet. So Izuku just, Izuku just disappears. The media caught this, and he appears at his classroom, and everyone who was watching TV, because, well, technically everyone, because everyone was watching TV, just look at Izuku, and Nejire, let's just say Nejire was visiting, looks at Izuku and said, you really didn't have to show him up, right? You know that, right? And Izuku says, I know, and, yeah, well, this is basically the end of the anime.